We do this too, we're bringing that fire. Talking real talk, Kentucky's on fire. From bourbon to ball games, we got that flow. On the We Do This Too podcast, yeah, you know. From country roads to the city lights, they bring the heat, man, every night. We do this too, let's make it clear. If you ain't listening, you ain't here.
Welcome back, y'all. It's another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. And as always, we are presented to you in partnership with brands that we feel represent the very best of the outdoor industry. So before we get started, we'd like to give a special shout out to Moultrie Products, Ullers Archery, Threads Custom Bowstrings, G5 Outdoors, Blackburn Apparel Company, Deer Pip Scents and Lures, Vision Clothing, Bluebird Waterfowl Company, Angry Chicken Outdoors, Alps Outdoors, and last but certainly not least, a special shout out to the good folks over at Briley's for leaving a legacy of shooting innovation. Whether you need new cameras to elevate the scouting experience, new arrows, or anything for your archery setups, clothing, scent, or whatever it may be, as a supporter of the podcast, you can use promo code WDTT promo. That's WDTT promo for 15% off anything on the website at ullersarchery.com. Some exclusions may apply. With that being said, let's dive into another episode of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast with your host, Mr. Courtney Williams. What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Williamson. I've got two special guests on today. They have both been on my podcast before, but we are going to talk turkey today. Getting a lot of questions, gotten a lot of questions about turkey hunting, getting into it. I know the season's over here in Kentucky, but I think a few states are still open for people to go harvest. So we're going to talk about turkey. We're going to talk turkey, talk about gear. We're going to talk about how you get into turkey hunting, some strategies, tactics. We're going to try to cover everything that we can about turkeys. So, Mr. Dalton Parr, Mr. Kenton Bottoms, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. I think my internet is working pretty good tonight. I hope. We'll see. I don't want to get halfway through this thing and I go off like I did last time. So we'll start with Dalton. You want to introduce yourself, brother, and how did you get into turkey hunting?
Yeah, so my name's Dalton Parr. I'm 27 years old. Have probably right at 21 years experience hunting turkeys. Killed my first one when I was 6, going on 7, with my mother, actually. I guess really what got me into turkey hunting outside of my mom and dad showing me the ropes and taking me when I was a kid and sacrificing their weekends and their time to sleep in from work, was the outdoor icon, Michael Waddell. Little boy, I always wanted to hunt and be like Michael. Not only is he a great outdoorsman, but he's just a heck of a guy. Well-rounded dude, very respectful, Christian man, someone you could definitely look up to in the outdoors. And I always wanted to be able to kill a turkey like Michael Waddell. And, still trying. I've been blessed to kill 64 birds myself and be a part of about 130, 140 in my lifetime, taking other people and things like that. But I still learn something every time I step into the woods or go into the field after a long beard. I think personally, if you don't pick up a little nugget every time you go into the woods, or you don't learn from a mistake every time you go in there, you're kind of going backwards. And with anything in life, really. But I guess outside of my parents, Michael Waddell is probably what really drove me to get into turkey hunting pretty hot and heavy.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I think Waddy, man, he's an influence on a lot of people because, when I first started, getting into the outdoors, early age, when my dad outside rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, turn on TV, that's pretty much all you seen was him, Cuz Strickland, Will Primos, guys like, the older cats. So I think Waddy had a big influence on a lot of people, and that man can call some turkeys, let me tell you. So heck yeah, man. Well, all right, Kenton, man, you're up. Introduce yourself and how did you get into turkey hunting?
My name's Kenton Bottoms the second. I'm from Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. 35 years old. Started turkey hunting. I don't know, when I was probably 14 or 15. Probably when I first started, didn't know what I was doing. Had to teach myself basically everything about turkey hunting because I didn't really know nobody that was a good turkey hunter until I got a little bit older. So I made a lot of mistakes. Took me a long time to kill my first bird, but finally I connected with one of my buddy's dads, and he took me out one opening morning, and we ended up shooting a double. And ever since then, I have dedicated myself to like like Dalton said, to try and be able to kill them birds real well. And so playing with calls and everything, and just I don't know, there's something special about a big old longbeard, coming through the trees or pitching out to a pasture. I mean, they're just special birds, and the people you meet around turkey hunting, it seems like there's just a lot of really good people uh, that you meet in turkey hunting, even more so than other types of hunting. So it's turkey hunting is very special to me, and it's something that I really enjoy, and I've really spent a lot of time to become a better turkey hunter. And I feel like it's something that you can do to really showcase your woodsmanship, because I feel like in turkey hunting, woodsmanship is more important than just about any other hunting. I mean, if you got good woodsmanship skills, you can kill turkeys.
For
Right.
sure. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask both of y'all this. Y'all can, whoever wants to answer first can go. But um, what draws you to turkey hunting more than like other species of animals? Because I know Dalton, we've talked before, like turkey hunting's his thing, duck hunting's like right there with it. I've talked to other cats, they're big deer hunters, they're big squirrel hunters, rabbit, whatever their thing may be. But there's a lot of turkey hunters out there that say turkey hunting is their favorite thing to do in the outdoors. Why is that?
If you don't mind, I'll go first. Can you cool with
Oh, you
that?
go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead, buddy.
I think turkey hunting is my favorite and my biggest passion in the outdoors because of reversing the roles of biology. That gobbler comes off that limb and he hits the high ground. He struts and he gobbles and he spits and drums because those hens are supposed to come to him. But you're out there leaned up against a big oak or in a blind or however you decide you want to hunt the bird, and you're calling to him, tricking him to come to you. Okay. That to me is doing that one time is worth shooting 580-inch whitetail to me. Getting that sucker to come off that high point down to you or come across that barbed wire fence or fly that river in search of you when you're supposed to go to him, that right there is just the ultimate reward and victory in the outdoors to me. Just, calling to him, tricking him, getting him to come in into shotgun range. And shotgun range is relative to some people. Some people shotgun range is 60, 50, 60 yards. Shotgun range to me, yeah, I shoot tungsten with a tight tube and all that. 50, 60 is not a problem. But shotgun range for me is more like 15 yards to 10 steps. Getting him in close, really seeing all the colors, iridescence to his feathers, really, really getting a real good picture of him, hearing him gobble and spit and drum that close, and then ultimately, sending him to the forever roost, and then, getting some pictures and feeding your family. You know what I mean? That's to me, that's what attracts me. It's just the game. You start out, you hear him, and then the chess game begins, and you get him all the way in there, and it's checkmate. Game's over. And when that game is over, you kind of feel a little bit like, dang, a little bit remorse, like not in the sense of I just took his life, but I can't do that with that same bird. I can't relive that. So it's very, very special to me. And then it's on to the next one. You sit there 20, 30 minutes thanking the good Lord above, thanking him for, his sacrifice, thanking him for what he's going to do for your family, and ultimately thanking him for the memory. And then you pick him up, take a few pictures with him, and then eat him, and it's on to another. It's on to another one, and that to me is what makes turkey hunting just so special.
That's awesome. I like how you said the forever roost. The upper room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
like
man,
it.
I
Go
can't
ahead,
say it
Ken.
hardly better than I can't hardly say it better than Dalton. I mean, literally, he put the nail on the head. But I will tell you, there is just something spiritual about turkey hunting. It's like, don't get me
Mm,
wrong, everybody's excited when you kill a deer, but whenever you harvest a turkey, it is a whole different thing. It's a whole different feeling inside of me. And
mm,
I don't know why, but I mean, I'm a religious person, and I'm sure you fellas are too. But I feel him when I'm in the turkey woods. I feel him, and that's when I feel, you know, what I'm saying that I don't know, man. It brings something out of me, and those birds, man. It's like, don't get me wrong, deer look good. Like a nice big deer looks really nice, but I mean, even the rattiest, ugliest turkey is way more beautiful than the deer. And there's just something about, like you said, when you get that turkey in there and he has no idea, he thinks you're another turkey sitting there talking to him. And you have tricked him and got him in there 15, 20 yards. There's nothing like that. And it's like, don't
mm,
get me wrong, I love to hunt ducks and geese. I love that. I love it because you get to talk to them too. I love it. And in some ways, I feel like it's maybe more challenging. But when you trick a turkey and get him to come in there and you're just sitting there watching him and they just and I guess it's the way that they act when they're mating and they're real, they kind of got a real arrogance about them, and they're all strutted, puffed up, strut in full strut, and they're just like kind of, I don't know, man. And just watching them interact with each other and being able to interact with them, I mean, that's something that you don't get to do with a lot of animals, not to that degree, because you talk to turkeys when you're hunting turkeys. I mean, you're
mm,
talking to them, you're communicating with them just like we're communicating right now. And you know, figuring out, it's like a puzzle. And like you said it the best, and I can't overstate this enough. You feel so upset in to some degree whenever you harvest that turkey because you know you don't get to dance that dance with that bird again.
mm.
And it's just powerful. I mean, if you've never killed a turkey, I highly suggest you try it because I'm sitting here telling you, it's a powerful experience. It really is.
Yeah.
It's almost
Also,
life changing.
It
yeah.
really
A
is.
lot
It
of a lot
really
of people
is.
say that, man. I've heard a lot of people say, it's like it's a life changing experience. And um and I can tell you the first turkey I ever killed, I think I was 17, maybe 18 years old. I was a freshman in college. I was around 17, 18 because I graduated high school at 17. Um, and the first one I killed, man, that feeling that I got, it wasn't the same as harvesting a whitetail. Wasn't the same as shooting like a rabbit or a squirrel. It was something different, holding that fan up, behind that fan. I was like, oh, I'm on to something here. And
Oh
after
yeah.
that, I went on a streak for like 5 years where I missed, I don't know how many. Then I went on a streak where 3 years in a row I harvested one, and then I went on another streak hiatus where it was just like I'm about to give up. Like I don't know what the heck's going on, but it's the chase. That's part of hunting. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, but as pops on Friday says, you live to fight another day.
You're right about that.
you you pretty much just described turkey hunting in a season. I mean, we get 20 26 days here, and day one to the last day, and everything in between is nothing but a roller coaster. You get that first one, you're like, man, I can do this every day. I can call turkey in every day. That next 10-day stretch, you couldn't
They're
call
whooping
in
your
a
butt.
blind turkey. You couldn't bring one to you. And that right there, I always tell people, it's not the ones you kill that make you go back. It's the ones that got away that make you
Yep.
go back and try again.
Yeah,
It's all the kicks in the teeth. It's all the butt whoopings and just feeling like, man, I cannot kill a turkey. Then all of a sudden, light switch. And you're like,
Hmm.
I can do this every day, no problem. They will make you look like the greatest hunter or the worst hunter ever. And there's no in between. There's no in between.
No, there's not. You're right. There's not an in
yeah,
between. And they will,
yeah,
like you said, they will kick you in your teeth. A wild turkey will humble you quick. I mean,
yeah,
it'll
Yeah.
have you going from a hero to a zero in seconds.
Yeah.
Seconds.
And, I mean, what is their brain this big?
Oh, if
And they're
that. I mean,
fooling,
dude, it's like a walnut size. It's tiny.
and they're fooling you.
And
They're tricking you.
they can't even really formulate thoughts and stuff like that. It's just they're equipped. Everything wants to kill and eat a turkey. Everything.
Oh,
So
everything.
literally, they're teed up always. And
Yeah.
they have their instincts are so good. And this is what somebody told me when I was young. They said, I swear to goodness, if a turkey could smell, you'd never kill one.
Yep, I've
Never
heard
get
that all my
within.
life.
You
And
never
is
get
that
within
not
300
true?
yards.
Oh, I don't even know if you get that close to them, dude. Hey,
Yo.
I'm sitting there telling you what they can see, because everybody's had to pick them out a couple hundred yards away, man. They'll periscope that head
Yeah.
up over a hill or something, and they'll see you. You never even know that turkey was there.
Hey,
Yeah,
how many
man.
times y'all been leaned up against a tree calling that bird for 30 or 40 minutes and he comes in there and you got him at 20, 25 yards and he sticks that head up and like that, he's gone. Like he knows
Yep,
something. You don't move or anything and he knows something's wrong.
sixth
Yeah,
sense,
you just
man. And I think animals do have that. They have like a sixth
they have
sense.
they have to have that simply to survive. Like
And
Yeah.
yeah,
any animal, in especially if you're not a predator, you know what I'm saying? If you're a prey, like everything wants to eat a rabbit. That rabbit is pretty much defenseless. Like
yeah,
Mhm.
you've got to be on high alert. Like deer, you've got to be on high alert. And even coyotes, man, when they come in, if you ever hunted them, they'll come in downwind because they're like, hold on, something ain't right. Let me get
Mhm.
downwind, see if I can smell something. And if they smell you, they're gone.
it's over. Yeah, they're not.
They'll be in the next
Yeah,
county in 10 seconds.
yeah.
Oh, easy, man.
Oh, they
So
fast, man. They
so
fast, but
how many types of turkeys are there in the United States?
In the United States,
Or
what is it?
period. Just like how many species? You
so
got your Easterns, your Merriams, the Osceolas,
you
your
got
Rios,
your
Rios.
your
My bad.
golds turkey
Golds.
and you got your oscillated
I say,
turkey.
Gotcha.
I know
did you get the
those are the
Osceola?
main six.
Did you get the Osceola?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Osceolas.
Yeah.
Which have y'all hunted all the species, or how many species have y'all hunted?
So I've done the Grand Slam. I've killed the Grand Slam, the Eastern, Rio, Merriam, and Osceola.
Okay, so this question is for you then. Which one is the hardest to kill or harvest, you think, and which one do you think lives in the like a harder terrain to get to, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So the hardest bird, in my opinion, that I've hunted is definitely the Eastern wild turkey and state specific and Alabama public land Eastern wild turkey. Very, very, very extremely hard to kill. The birds that probably live in the, that's kind of, I guess it depends on your mobility and your ability to move. But to me, Merriam's in the mountains where you got to go up steep hills and down steep hills and through and trying to keep up with them jokers. That's tough. Um,
Gotcha.
that's probably, and you could ask 10 people and they'll say different things. But to me, that terrain there is hard to hunt because I'm short and my legs are really short and I have a hard time keeping up with them turkeys, especially in a terrain where they're used to them slopes and them hillsides and all that. And they're moving pretty good. I'm just not as fast as they are. So getting out in front of a Merriam or a Rio flock, Rio don't move that fast, but getting out in front of a Merriam flock is the best way to kill them. If you know where they're going, getting out in front of them, letting them come to you. Now they are pretty dumb. Merriam and a Rio, I will just fully admit. If you get one hot enough, he'll just run and pretty much put his face in your choke tube if you let him. They're just that stupid and that easy to kill. But if you can't get in front of them, they can be pretty challenging.
I got you. Yeah, I've heard the Merriams are pretty hard, and I heard the Osceolas as well because they live way in the swamps where a lot of people don't want to go simply because I know me, I ain't going in there after them simply because there's gators in there and there's pythons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm
that's where they are, and that's where, if I'm not mistaken, Osceola comes from the Seminole Indians, right? That was their leader was named Osceola, correct?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the parts of Florida I've hunted, there is gators and rattlesnakes and stuff like that, but there's not so much swampy ground. Now, the further south you get into Osceola country, you get into more of, flooded bottoms and things of, well, their bottoms. It's not like a bottom to us, but yeah, you do get into some of that. Most of the terrain I hunt is farm and cropland down there, so it's not too bad. But
Yeah.
I've definitely seen some that are like they shoot the bird and he flops over into a slough. I'm like, boy, is he work going over there? I mean, there could be cottonmouth, there could be a gator in there, but if he's gobbling and he gives me three, I'll go through a brick wall after him.
I'll go anywhere. That's what I was about to say. I'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
If he gives me three in a row, it's over. I'm going.
Speaking of cottonmouths, Dalton, you know my boy Lance.
Yes.
So Lance was the guy that got me into duck hunting, and I blame him for my obsession now because I was like, why in the world would somebody want to wake up at freaking 4 o'clock or whatever in the morning, go set decoys out in 15-degree weather or colder, and stand in water up to their chest to shoot a bird?
It's magical. It's
And I
magical.
said,
Yeah.
bro, I said, I'm not doing that. He said, yes, you are. We're going. I said, okay. So he hits up his buddy, his cousin Mackenzie up in Ballard County. Everybody knows where Ballard County is if you're a duck hunter in Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
We get up there, we get drawn. I don't know what to expect. All I was told was buy waders and try to stay warm as possible. Well, they didn't tell me where we were hunting because I probably wouldn't have went. So we backed the boat in the water. I'm scared to death because I can't swim. It's 5 degrees outside. I'm freezing to death already. I've never been in a boat like that before, like a duck boat. I've always been like a bigger boat, and we can't see 10 feet in front of us. It's foggy. It's dark. All I'm seeing is like cypress trees everywhere, like in front of me. And I'm like, we're about to go through that. And Lance looks at me and says, welcome to crazy white boy shit. And I said, oh boy. So Mackenzie, who is the captain of the boat, basically says, see, Will, sit in the boat. You're going to feel some bumps. You're going to feel some stuff that's underneath this boat that we're probably going to hit. We're not going to flip. He shouldn't have told me that. My eyes got as big as a softball. I've got my GoPro in front of me like this. I'm shaking. Lance and Mackenzie are dying laughing at me, right? So we get to the hole, and I'm sitting there like, I'm not seeing anything but water and trees. Where are we going to sit? He's like, we're not sitting. We're going to stand up beside this tree. I was like, huh? He said, yeah, that's why I didn't tell you because I knew you wouldn't come. I said, you damn right I wasn't about to come. So Mackenzie sets out the decoys. He's got his boat. He's putting out the lights. Me and Lance get out of the boat. I'm up to water, probably up to my chest, freaking out because all I can think about was a cottonmouth coming out of nowhere in the dark and biting the hell out of me, and I'm done. You can ask Lance this. I've told this story before. So Lance is like laughing at me the entire time. I'm like, bro, I'm scared to death. So once he cut the boat off, we're in complete darkness for like an hour. And I'm just sitting there praying to God, like, God, please don't let me get bit by no cottonmouth, no gator, something in here. So finally, Lance is like, bro, it's 5 degrees outside. Ain't no cottonmouth coming to get you.
No.
Like snakes are coming out in the.
They sleep.
They're hibernating. I said, okay. So I was okay. So once daylight comes, it opens up. I'm cool. Once the birds start coming in, I was like, okay, this is cool. So after that, I was fine. But when people say, especially like early season, I don't like hunting early season simply because turkey mites, ticks, snakes, and when somebody says I'm going to hunt out yellows, all I can think about is pythons, cottonmouths. I'm out.
You got a shotgun though. You ain't worried about the wild snakes.
Yeah, bro. But I'll be on the edge too much to be looking for a turkey. I'm looking for everything else but a turkey if I'm going through the woods like that.
Well, I'm sitting there telling you right now, if I'm after a turkey, I ain't worried about no tick. I ain't worried about no rattlesnake. I ain't worried about no cottonmouth, no alligator. Boy, I'll beat the alligator up to get the turkey. I'm sitting there trying to tell you. I ain't worried about none of them. I don't even think about spiders, none of that. I don't care. I come out those have spiders all in my beard and all that.
I can handle spiders. I'm not snakes and gators is where I draw the line. But I do want to hunt. I do actually want to go on a gator hunt. I've been telling people that forever. Ever since Swamp People came out, I'm like, I want to be like Troy Landry. Because I think once I harvest my first one and like actually see how it's done and actually know that it's, dispatch once it gets in the boat, I'm fine.
Have you ever been around them?
No. Oh, yeah. Well, yes and no. So in high school, I always wanted to go Grambling University, which is in Grambling, Louisiana. It's a HBCU. I always wanted to go there simply because of their marching band. Because, dude, I love music, and I always wanted to go there to play basketball, baseball, something. So we actually took a tour there on one of my trips that you get to go to colleges and whatever. So we took a trip down there, and we get to like the middle of the campus, and there's just a gator just walking up beside like the campus quarters right there, like where people live. And everybody's just walking like normal. And I'm just sitting there like, y'all realize there's a gator over there? Like, yeah, like they come around here all the time. That's normal. I was like, he's like, there's the swamps right over there, and there's like a bayou up there. And I'm like, so I could come out and go into class at 8 a.m. and walk by a gator. They're like, yeah. And my dad looked at me and said, son, I don't know if this is the school for you or not. And I said, well, let's just keep on trucking. So we keep on trucking or whatever. And we go to like the backside where like the baseball field and stuff, football field. There's another one just walking up the side, like on the side where the football field is. I'm like, yeah, that's two that we've seen in less than an hour. I don't think I want to go here no more. So we get done with the tour or whatever. And when I'm in places like Louisiana or wherever I'm at, I want to eat what the locals eat. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I want some shrimp, I want some crawfish, I want some gator, whatever. So they tell us about this place way out in the swamp. Like we're driving, there's water on both sides. Dad's calm. He's like, man, I've been in this situation before. Me and mom were like in the back seat holding on to each other because we're like, what in the world's about to happen? When we get to this place, there's cars everywhere. It's like a little hole in the wall. So we get to the front. And like usually a waiter will hand you like menus and how you follow the table. They didn't hand us no menus. They said, do you want to sit inside or do you want to sit outside? And I was like, well, we're in Louisiana. It's kind of cool outside. Let's sit outside. The waiter says, okay. Hands us 3 fly swatters. And I'm like, where are the menus? The guy said the menus is on the table. They were like written on the table in like a black marker. I'm like, why do they hand us these fly swatters for? My mom was like, what's going on, Well, summertime, Louisiana, and I don't know why it was so it was like 70 degrees. It was summertime, but them mosquitoes down there, they will pack you off.
They was tearing you up.
So we were sitting there just smacking. So I was like, Dad's like, can we go inside? So they sent us inside. We got crawfish. We got basically a seafood bowl. We had a ball in there, but I've never been to a restaurant where they give you fly swatters when you walk in the door.
No.
But yeah, getting off topic.
You had to use fly swatters right here.
Yeah, getting off topic, but we'll get back into it. But okay, so Turkeys. What's the best time you guys think to hunt turkeys? Is it in the early morning, midday, late night, or not late night, but evening when they're going to roost? Because I've heard, well, if you guys follow the Kentucky Turkey Hunters page on Facebook, you've seen harvest in the morning, you've seen them midday, you've seen them in the evening.
Yeah.
What's y'all's preference?
Man, that is a loaded question, if you will. Here's what I'll say. Personally, the hunts that I've had in the morning are more what you see on TV. The bird gobbling his head off coming in, hot. Those are the hunts that happen more often for me in the morning time. But my favorite time to turkey hunt is midday. Because if you strike that boy off midday and he gobbles to you, he's cooked. If you got an ounce of woodsmanship in your body, he's cooked. You gonna kill that bird. If he fires off midday, you gonna kill him because he's lonely and he's looking for love. As long as a hen don't cut you off, you gonna kill that bad boy. So honestly, I would say midday is my absolute favorite. If I had to choose one time of day that I could only hunt, it would be midday.
Gotcha. What about you, Dalton?
I like the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. window. Of course,
That's what we're talking about.
everybody likes being out there first thing in the morning. He's on the limb, he's ripping it up and everything like that. But you've got to be realistic with yourself. If you're not within 100 yards of him off the roost, he's got 15 other things on his mind while trying to fight off jakes or other gobblers that are subordinate to him. But you go out there, I'll sometimes, if I can't get him to me or a subdominant bird to me right off the roost, I'll watch them go through. I'll watch them do their thing. And you'll start seeing about 9:15, the hens really start losing interest. 9:30, they're starting to separate themselves. By 10 o'clock, it's just a bunch of dudes standing there. And they're looking around like, this is not how it's supposed to be. So you hit him with that little, and I don't get real. If I've been watching them all morning and they know where I'm at, I'm not going in there cutting and yelping real loud. I just give them a nice little soft yelp and I just scratch the leaves. If they hear that, they'll answer me cool. If they don't hear it, I tone it up just a little bit. But if he strikes you between 10 and 2, you might as well take your safety off and just get ready because he's about to run you over.
That's a fact.
He's coming. He's coming and he's coming quick. And honestly, if it's not 10 to 2, I've had a lot of luck between 5 and 7:30 in the evening. Like this year in particular, I took my mom. We went to a farm. We pulled in 4:45, and it was probably around 5:10, 5:15. We'd set up, and I called, and I heard what I thought was a turkey, way, way off. I didn't say anything to mom. I didn't want to get her hopes up. So I called again, and I thought I heard him again. I said, Mom, you just sit here. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to walk about 150, 200 yards this way in this direction because I think I'm hearing a bird. Well, I called, and sure enough, man, doom. He hit me twice, cut me off in the middle and hit me on the end of my call. And it probably wasn't, 10, 15 minutes later, he had come, and I probably put my hand on the Bible. He'd probably come from 3/4 of a mile across away from other farm, and he was right there. I mean, he was coming, and he did not shut up. I mean, he gobbled every 15 seconds coming to us. Now, what I tell you about them birds, when they come in there, they do that, and they stick their head up over the hill, they see something ain't right. That's exactly what happened. He came full strut around the bend. He poked his head up, and that sixth sense kicked in. He knew something wasn't right. I mean, he went from full strut gobbler to folded. He went down, folded them wings right away. So we didn't get him, but that's just an instance of where he knew something wasn't right. But, I mean, he came on a string, and he went right back to where he came from. So if you're a hunter that you want your chances to be a little bit higher of success, 10 to 2, maybe even 5 to 7:30 in the evening, I'm not saying you can't kill a bird first thing in the morning, but if you ain't got him by 8 and he's been on the ground since 7:30, you might as well just eat your snack, get your honey bun, drink your coffee, just hang on. Just hang on for a little bit. Game's not over. It's just halftime. And then, you hit him at 10, 15, he gobbles back, just get ready and don't move. And that's another thing. Moving, when you think you need to move, you don't need to move. If he's gobbled at you and you ain't heard him in 15 minutes, that doesn't mean stand up and walk 20, 30 yards closer. That means just sit still and start listening. Because you'll hear that spitting and drumming. Because he's done quit gobbling. He's like, okay, I'm in range of her. She's gonna hear me spit and drum, and that's when you actually pick them up coming through there.
That's the number one tip. That's probably the most informational thing that has been said on this podcast so far when it comes to turkey hunting.
Yeah, be still.
You nailed it. Don't move. How many times when I was younger trying to figure it out did I do that? Bird shut up for 15 minutes. I bust them every time. Took me forever. I guess I'm slow. Took me forever to learn that lesson. But now that I know it, boy,
I tell
it's
you,
deadly.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, I've probably screwed up just as many birds as I killed by doing that.
Oh, I know I.
Listen,
100%.
I always tell beginner turkey hunters and people that have just been doing it for a couple of years, patience will kill more birds than any shotgun in this world.
It's a fact. If you're around them and you making subtle turkey noises and you're not calling too much or too loud and you're sounding realistic, one's gonna slip up and come by. They'll get curious. He's gonna get lonely. If you're close to them, they're gonna come by. So if you sit still, you're gonna have a good chance. Now it may not be at 8:30 in the morning. It might be at 4:30 in the afternoon. But I'm telling you, like you said, patience, knowing, being around birds and having patience will kill you a lot of turkeys. I mean, that's a fact, and that's a hard lesson to learn. Because you see on TV, everybody ripping and running, always chasing after them, moving all the time and stuff like that. And it's like, don't get me wrong, can you do that? Absolutely.
We're going to get into
a
that.
lot of woodmanship.
We're going to get into that. But shout out to Nancy Parr. I absolutely love that woman.
She's awesome.
Dalton's mom, dude, I'm telling you, she plays softball, she hunts, she works out. Dude, this woman she's like Superwoman. Like I think a lot of hunters, to be honest, get kind of jealous when Dalton posts pictures or she posts pictures because it's like I might have went on a duck hunt that morning or something and killed like 2 birds. And then a couple hours later, Miss Nancy and Dalton post a picture. They're holding up 2 limits of birds. Or, she's powerlifting freaking 800 pounds off the ground and killed a 205-inch whitetail. Like, this woman, she does it all. Like, and she's the sweetest lady that you ever meet in your life. Shout out to Miss Nancy. She's awesome. I swear, I love that woman.
She's an OG killer, son.
OG. So, Miss Nancy, if you're listening to this, I have a lot of respect for you. I hope we get on the same softball team again this year.
Amen.
Amen. So, moving forward, I'm gonna start with Kenton on this one. Your all-time go-to strategy for locating pressured birds. This is the number one question that I get from hunters because I am nowhere near a perfect hunter, turkey, especially turkey hunting. I'm not a perfect hunter with anything. I struggle with it all, but turkey hunting is probably the number one species that I struggle with. Especially in the later it gets in the season, when those birds are henned up or those birds have been shot at before, to get them to come to you. So the number one question I get is, how do you locate and harvest those pressured birds?
So when you're saying locate, are you trying to say figure out kind of their area where they're at and stuff? Or are you talking about
because
getting into
I'm guessing
gobble so you can kill them?
So basically the question I get is, all right, Courtney, the later it gets in the season, when those birds are not gobbling in the morning, they're not gobbling on the roost. When they come down, they're not gobbling. I can't get them to respond to a call. When I do see one, they have hens with them. They're not responding to a call. They're not wanting to break. They might have had a gunshot at them like opening morning. These birds are just not breaking to a call. Those That's
Okay,
what I
how do you get
call
that bird harvested right there? How do
yeah.
you get
How
a
do you get that
Okay.
bird harvested?
So for me, number one tactic when it comes to that is if I'm seeing the bird, if I kind of know the area that the bird's in, I mean, if he's not responding to a call, and I'm gonna sit there and watch him, and I'm gonna figure out what he's doing. More than likely, a couple days in a row, he's kind of going to do the same thing. So that's one of those birds, like we talked about. Patience will kill that bird. There's a time period where, and I believe this, that the whole season long, every day, there's a time period where every bird is susceptible. There is a time period. Now, whether or not it's a time period where we're in the woods or not, that's hard to tell. Could I tell you when the time period will be? No, I could probably give you a guess and maybe get it right. But I feel like there is a time period every day that every bird is susceptible. He's not going to have hens every single day, all day long. He's just not going to. Or there will be a bird that doesn't. And so to me, that's one of those ones that patience is going to kill that bird. I'm going to wait him out. I'm going to be in his area. I may watch him fly down. I may watch him walk off with the hens. I may know where he's going. But guess what? I'm going to sit tight and I'm going to do like Dalton said, one of the deadliest turkey calls is scratching the leaves. I'm telling you right now, that kills the fire out of turkeys. They can't stand it. It eats them up. I don't know what it is about it, but I mean, they just, yeah, and it sounds so content to the birds. But that's the way I would go about trying to harvest a pressured bird like that. It's, be in his area where you know he frequents and have patience. Now, don't expect this bird to gobble. Like Dalton said, you got to be listening and paying attention for if he's spit drumming. And some turkeys, they don't drum. They don't all drum the same loudness. Like some drum louder than others. I've had birds that I could hear drumming from, I swear, 150 yards off, and I've had
Okay,
other
hold
ones that
on.
have been.
Time out.
Oh, sorry.
Time out. Time out. For those who don't know, explain what spitting and drumming is.
Okay, so a spit drum is like it's hard to explain what it is because it is the weirdest noise that you've ever heard because it sounds unearthly.
It
But it's
does.
this
First time I heard it, I was like, "What in the world is behind me?"
so what a turkey does is like when he puffs up to strut, and if you watch him, you can if you can see a turkey that's strutting, you can tell when he's spit drumming because he kind of flexes when he does it, but it's a like a boom. And that's the closest I can get to it because I cannot produce that sound. And you probably wouldn't even be able to hear it on here if I could. But it's a deep like boom. And it's like it doesn't echo, but it's like a vibrating sound. Like if a turkey's close to you and he does it, you can feel it in your chest. And I know it's hard starting off because you don't know what that sounds like. But if you hear something that could remotely sound like that, that is probably spit mouth. And if you hear that bird doing that, then that means he's interested. You've got his attention. Stay still, be patient. He's probably working his way real slowly. And another thing about birds when they get like that is it's not uncommon to see a gobbler walking through a field taking his sweet time, picking and eating it along his way. He's got to eat or he'll die. So, they're going to eat too. They're gonna take their time and do their thing too. And sometimes, he may have just left those hens and he's like, I know she's over. I'll get her in a minute, but there's some good food over here. So I'm gonna pick through this and eat some grasshoppers and then I'll go check her out. And that's those birds that patience will kill. So that's my biggest thing. Have patience, use your ears, use your eyes, and listen for the spit drumming because if they're not gobbling, they're letting the hens know where they are. Like Dalton said, they're going to let them know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the way they do it because it's not a sound that can be picked out so easily, and it is harder to pinpoint. A gobble, it's pretty easy to hear a gobble and know where the bird's at, but spit drumming, it's a little harder to pinpoint that noise. And so I think that's why they use that. And it's a quieter noise, but I think turkeys can hear better than us, so they can probably hear it a lot better. I mean, they can probably hear it from pretty far away. But that would be my biggest thing to tell people is have patience, get in his area, and just sound like a turkey. Sound natural as you can. He will slip up.
Right. All right, Dalton, you're up.
So for me, killing a pressured gobbler or even an old gobbler that's just been through it a time or two, My strategy of killing them is distance, spot and scope, binoculars, and days. What I mean by that is keep a distance from his area. Don't bust him. Don't get in tight to him. I don't care if it is season. You're like, well, maybe if I'm down there, he might walk by. Take 2 or 3 days. Be a distance away where he's not going to bust you. Watch him through binoculars. Watch him through a spot and scope. Learn his mannerisms. Kind of. You may not get a gobble off a roost, but if you listen close enough, you can hear where he flies up. A hen and a gobbler sounds different when they're flying.
Mm-hmm.
A gobbler is not as graceful as a hen. They sound like a pack of armadillos coming out of a tree when they're coming down. Okay, they're just loud. So for me, if I've got a bird, whether I've filled a tag or not, and let's say it's the last 10 days of season, and this Joe Blow and this Tom, Dick, and Harry on the neighboring properties have thrown everything in the kitchen sink and shot 80, 90 yards at him with these TSS loads, and he's just boogered. I will take 2 or 3 days and I will watch him. And basically, I will stalk a turkey. I'm going to admit it right now. I will stalk this dude. And that means when he leaves the field, I'm paralleling him through the woods. If I can get up on a high ridge where I can see him and I'm learning where he's going. And then if, the first day you go in there and you do call to him and he goes the other way, give him 2 or 3 more days, he's going to get back on his pattern. He's going to get back at what he's doing because he knows by that time, most of the hens have been bred. There's still a few here and there coming back on a cycle. But if he's not going to answer a call, the best way to do it, and it is super duper boring and it could take hours, but just sitting there and deer hunting them. Just deer hunt the thing. It's not flamboyant. It's not crazy goblins spitting and it's literally coming down to just sitting there hoping and praying he walks by like you do a deer in your stand. And I have killed several birds that way. And most of the time they're 1.5 inch or bigger spurs. They've been through it. They know not to say a whole lot. They know the tips and the tricks of how they've got a PhD in survival and you're trying to kill them. So once you learn that bird and you learn his pattern, I'm not saying sit at his roost tree and shoot him in flight as he's going to roost. I particularly like to be in the hallway. I like to be between the kitchen and the bedroom. I'm in the hallway. At some point in time, he's going to have to pass through there on his way to bed to get done eating and being all day with his hens. And you may kill him in the morning, you may kill him in the evening, but just being there and being patient. And if you know a bird's not going to come to the call, don't call to him. Don't give away your location. Because all he's got to do is skirt at 150 and go around. All you got to do is watch him. So don't sit there. And I know it sucks sitting there not making a noise. You're like, man, if I just call it, Mike, don't. Because all you're going to do is tip him off. And he's going to be like, well, I'm not going that way. And I'm not saying that every bird late in the season is like that, because you will find some that just, they haven't made a peep all year. And you go in that farm, you're like, my last ditch effort. I know he's in here, but you don't say much. I'm going to catch him out and bushwhack him. And then all of a sudden he's on fire and you can bring him right in. So you just got to really read the bird and understand that bird, because not 2 turkeys are the same. I've never met 2 longbeards that act the same way. We're they're just like humans. We don't act the same way every day. You and all of us, we don't have the same mannerisms. We don't talk the same, dress the same, walk or talk. We don't do anything the same. And turkeys are the same way. So my biggest thing is patience, distance, binocular, spot, and scope, and days. Just have the control to not go in there and blow him out, watch him, learn him, and then read him and kill him. That's how you do it. That's how I do it anyways.
Yeah, those are 2 dope, great answers. I know kind of like Kenton said, it's kind of a loaded question, but that's a great segue to my next question. Some people run and gun, some people set up and wait. What is y'all's strategy for that? Do y'all run and gun? When I mean run and gun, I mean when you slam, I've had instances where I've like accidentally slammed my truck door and I hear a shot gobble. I was like, oh, he's over here. Let's go get him. But I've also had instances where I'm hunting a kind of an open field surrounded by woods. There's really no place to hide, so I'm in a blind, basically just calling to the bird, waiting on him to come to me. So, what do y'all prefer?
So for me, if like all the places I hunt, I've hunted them for years, so I know the woodsman. I know the trails, the travel path. The I can slip around this ridge, or I can go behind this hill and get on him. I love to run and gun, but my run and gun isn't like I run up to him and I get within 60 yards. I'm just waiting for him to walk out. I get in there and I get in real tight to him. Especially if he just keeps gobbling, he's giving me that location. Okay. And then I'll close 20 or 30 yards. He gobbles again. I'm closing 20 or 30 yards. Okay. Now I'm within 80 yards of him. Let me just ease over this tree, sit there, purr, soft yelp, and the leaves. So I kind of do a hybrid. I do some run and gun and some bushwhacking. Everybody is bushwhacking turkey. You catch him out in the field with a bunch of hens. You got a drainage ditch around the field. He's 30 yards up the drainage ditch. You just jump in that sucker, go down there, remember where he is, poke every once in a while, make sure he's still in the same spot, click the safety off, rise up and bust him. Everybody's done that. Okay. If you say you haven't, you're lying. But I like to run and gun to the extent where I get within about 100 to 75 yards of him. And then I like to sit down because I'm, 220 pounds. I'm going to sound like a buffalo coming through there, not like a turkey if I ain't careful. I don't want to blow him out of there. So I'll sit down, and I will scratch the leaves a little bit, kind of give him a little purr, a little clucks, a little soft yelps. And when I get him going like that, I just sit there and wait. Here, this kind of goes with the run and gun and sitting up and wait. Here's a big topic that a lot of people are throwing fits over, this reaping and fanning stuff.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Love it. I love to do it, but it's a last ditch thing. If I can't get the bird to commit, or I've hunted him a few days and he, doing this, and I get to the point where you're like, you know what? He's got the best of me, but I'm going to try this. It's my last ditch effort here. And dude, I've had some heart pounding, just adrenaline jump rush hunts behind the daggone reaping decoy, and it's a blast. Now I'm not sitting there crawling across the field to him. I pop up, 150, 100 yards from him, and I show it to him. And when they're sprinting and they're running at you, and their chest is going like that, and that beard swinging back and forth, dude, there ain't nothing like it. And when they stop at about 10 yards and spit and drum, and they come to break that last little bit, you better be ready. You're gonna get some spurs to the face, and it's just awesome. It really is awesome. I don't fuss at people. When you kill a turkey, I'm happy for you. I don't care how you kill it. So what I got to say about all that stuff and people saying this and there'll be less turkey killed, just shut up and kill turkeys. That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? If a man is happy that he harvested a bird, let that man be happy. I don't care how.
Amen. Amen.
That's true. As long as you're doing it legally and safe, I don't see a problem with it now. One thing since it came up, I will say I have never successfully harvested a turkey via reaping. Now I have had one hang up on me in a big cow pasture up on top of a pond. He's just sitting there strutting, wouldn't break. And I've showed him the back of a fan that I had with me and just spun it in my hand, just back and forth one time, set it down. He broke, come right on in there. I've done that.
Mhm.
I tried to reap a turkey and literally he was so close that I should have hit him with a gun barrel and I missed him 3 times. I'm not gonna lie to you. He was too close. I was razzled. I did not expect it to work that good. It was nuts. I was tore plumb up. And it happens. But ever since then I've been like, man, I just don't really it's not my cup of tea. I mean, don't get me
Right.
wrong. I think it works, and I don't have a problem with people doing it. I mean, I wouldn't do it on public land. I would say that I do not condone doing that on public land. That is private land
Uh-oh.
only. When you
Yeah,
know
you'll get
everybody that's
shot
on
on.
there,
Yeah.
you will perish if you do that on public land. So do not do that on public land. But I don't have nothing. There's nothing against it. I got buddies that do it, and that's fine. Like, dude, there's nothing wrong with it at all. But I will say this: everybody thinks it's 100%. It's going to work every time. That is not true. That is
Mhm.
not true. If you've ever hunted a bird that has been beat up by a group of jakes and you show him that fan, Buddy is running as fast as he can away from there.
Yeah.
That is not a foolproof method. It is not.
No.
It can be it'll be a big old bird, 14-inch beard, 2-inch spurs. If he's been whooped up on by Jakes or subordinates, he is getting out of there. He does not want that confrontation. So it's not 100%. I will say that it's not nothing in turkey hunting is 100%, especially not reaping. So that's my little thing on that. But to answer your question about the sitting or the running and gunning, I'm kind of like Dalton, where I like to do kind of both. Like if a turkey's plumb going off and he's not really getting any closer, or if he may be just far enough to where he really probably can't hear me, I'm going to try and close the distance on him, especially if he's gobbling on his own. I'm like, Dalton, I'm going to get as close as I can to him that I feel comfortable. Then I'm going to sit down and purr to him and scratch the leaves and stuff and get him to come on in there. 100% I'm going to do that. But I will say that I guess I probably tend to err more toward the I'm gonna set up and wait because I know I'm gonna get him to slip up. I know that I will kill that bird if I wait long enough. I mean, that's just the way it is where I hunt. Like I just know. I know if I sit there all day, I'm around turkeys. He's gonna break off, and I'm gonna. And the same thing I said earlier. Like I know I can do that, but don't get me wrong. I mean, not every day you have the time. We all have jobs. We all have kids, wives, whatever. So it's like, and if I'm short on time or if I just am feeling froggy that day, I will go and I will get close to him and I will sit down. But now, as far as bushwhacking goes, like you said, of course we've all done it. Everybody's bushwhacking turkey. And if you haven't, you haven't hunted long enough.
Right.
It's a fact.
Absolutely.
That's a fact. But now I'm not too into doing that anymore. I'm going to try to not walk up on him like that and pop him. But like you said, I like to get close to him, close enough that I'm in his bubble, but not too close to where I'm gonna bust him off. And then call him in from there. Because I mean, that's my thing. I love calling him in. So I'm kind of right
Mhm.
with Dalton on that one. Like, don't get me wrong, I have patience and I'll sit and wait him out. But if I have the opportunity or if I know the terrain allows for it, I'm gonna get over there by him and I'm gonna try and call him in that
Okay. So I know this is kind of a bigger question too that I've got. Coming from a deer hunting background, I'm a big fan of trail cameras.
Mhm.
I love putting trail cameras out just to see what's out there, see what's on my property, see what time that that doe or that buck is coming in, and make a game plan from there. So turkey hunting, how important is it that you scout, and how do y'all go about scouting for turkeys?
scouting is very important when it comes to turkey hunting. You got to know where turkeys are, because turkeys, people don't understand this. They seasonally migrate, if you will. There are
Mhm.
farms like my property that my family owns. We have turkeys in the fall. We do not have them in the spring. They seasonally migrate to different places based on their needs and stuff like that. So you can be somewhere where, say, you're deer hunting and you see a flock of 100 turkeys every day during deer season. You can think, oh well, I'm gonna go in here and kill a turkey. It's gonna be easy. There may not be a turkey on that farm because they move like that. So scouting is important. You do have to scout and kind of find turkeys and find where they go, and that stuff like I said, woodsmanship, spending time in the woods, that stuff you'll notice. And honestly, one of the good ways to do that for me anyway, and what I like to do is I'll go on a winter time squirrel hunt toward the end of the season. Because in that way, I'm walking around. I might find a shed. I can do a little bit of turkey scouting, and I might fill a pot. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's something that I'll utilize to kind of scout out a spot or something like that. And another thing, just going and listening. But to kind of answer your other question, trail cameras for me are literally, I don't think I've ever used a trail camera to try and kill a turkey. That's just me personally. Now, don't get me wrong. I know people that get pictures of them and they kind of pattern them that way. Personally, I don't have trail cameras where I turkey hunt because I only turkey hunt on these places. And it just be a lot of money to run cameras out there and they probably get stolen because I'm not out there all the time. So to me, like trail cameras really aren't. I'd rather go and sit with binoculars or kind of creep through the woods a little bit and set up and listen. And to me, that's going to tell you more than a truck hammer ever would. But I'm not saying it's not a useful tool that can be used, but I've never used them really in that manner.
I got you.
So,
All right, Dalton.
so for me, boots on the ground, ears in the woods, and eyes in the field are a huge part of my success. I'm not gonna lie to you, my turkey scouting usually starts in February. I start bouncing around the farms because, believe it or not, you may not believe it, turkeys start gobbling then. I've heard turkeys gobbling in deer stand. They will gobble. Now, to bounce off Keaton, fall turkeys are not just spring turkeys, and spring turkeys aren't your fall turkeys. They traffic. They have feeding areas in the fall and breeding areas in the spring. That's 100% true, and I've noticed that several times. But I spend several days and hours before opener in the woods, listening, watching, and learning the travel patterns of the birds that I'm going to hunt at my commission farms and at my home farm. As far as trail cams go, I run them here at the house, and that's more or less just to tell mom and dad what's around, to kind of pick up on where the coyotes are at, because I love shooting them suckers. Actually, this is the first year I've ever owned cell cameras, and when my phone goes off, kid and Christmas, son, I get so excited to see what's there. But I don't use trail cameras a lot during turkey season. I rather use myself. And another thing, like, it's one thing to go and listen to them on the roofs in the morning. That's fine. You can't do that every morning because you got to work or whatever. But I'm a big believer in, if you go there first thing in the morning, you hear them, spend an hour or two with them if you can, learn where they go. Go back at 10 o'clock in the morning, see where they're at. Go back at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, see where they're at. Go back in the evening, see where they're at. Learn their travel pattern. Learn what that turkey is going to do at different times of day. Because there's been several times where I hit a farm in the morning with mom or buddy or whoever. Bam, we kill a bird there. Okay, it's 8:45. This bird's going to be in this spot. You get there, there he is. You know how to slip through the woods and get in his bubble. So to me, scouting is like right up there with the most important thing before going and chasing a gobbler.
I got you. Yeah, because I know a lot of people, they wait till, like the day before, the season starts, and they're trying to roost a gobbler or whatever. And they're like, man, I ain't seen no birds. I'm like, but have you really been scouting? Is this the first day that you've been out? Well, yeah, the season starts tomorrow. I'm like, dude, you might get lucky, but it don't work like that. I mean, you gotta put in your due diligence. You gotta put your boots on the ground, like Dalton said. You gotta scout. Coyotes, same way. When we hunt those, farmers are begging people around here to come kill them right now. But you've got some pressured coyotes, just like you got pressured turkeys that have been shot at 1,000 times. They've heard the same rabbit, off those Fox Pros or whatever. They're pressured coyotes, and it's the same thing, I guess, for anything like a deer, turkey, or whatever. So yeah, scouting is definitely a must do. I feel like for any animal that you're going to harvest, especially whitetail, especially turkeys, coyotes, stuff like that. So,
well, I mean,
that's a big thing.
Everybody wants to be successful in the season. Everybody wants to be successful in life. So if you want to be successful, you have to put in the time and the effort to get there. So I relate a lot to life. Because if you're going to put effort into something, you might as well do it 110% to get the best reward. And like Keaton said, we all work. We have families. I got a wife and a kid on the way. I don't have all day to sit out there. So if I know them better, the chances are I'm going to be out of there by 8 o'clock because I know where he's going. While some people, and it's fun to sit out there all day if you can. Don't get me wrong. You sit out there, you can pray, you can talk to God, you can think of, get rid of all the stress and worries of the world. But at some point in time, you got to go back to reality. And I'd rather go out 24 pounds heavier than going out the same way I came in.
Hey, that's it. Amen to that, brother. Amen to that.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
Yeah, you ain't wrong about that. I was having a conversation with a buddy the other day. I hadn't seen him in a long time. We was at the gas station, and he had his brother with him. And I said, "What y'all been out doing?" He said, "Oh, just been putting out trail cameras because this time in Kentucky, you're not supposed to feed till what, July 31st or first of
August
August, something
1st.
like that." Yeah. So it's like we just been putting out trail cameras, just to see what's out there and whatever. And his brother kind of made a comment that kind of made me mad a little bit. And I was like, okay, but I let it go. He basically was like, yeah, he said, my brother puts out these trail cameras and he'll plant these food plots and this and this and this. And I'll get in the tree stand before he does. And I always kill a bigger deer than him. And I'm like, so basically your brother's doing all the work and you're reaping the benefits from it. And I was like, how come you're getting in the stand before your brother anyway? He said, man, I'm usually at work over the weekend. He said, I usually don't take my vacation until that Monday. So he'll miss Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday through Saturday, Monday through that Sunday. So he'll miss the first 2 days and then he'll get to hunt the rest of the time. But his brother will sneak in there on his food plot in his stand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, bro. And he's like, yeah, man, I don't want to talk about it. And so his brother kind of leaves or whatever. And I said, dude, that's kind of wrong of your brother to do that. He said, man, we've had this conversation 1,000 times. He said, I'm out there putting in the work, bush hogging, putting my clover out, my brassicas and all this, doing the work. And then he gets in the tree stand, come rifle season, usually kills the buck that I've been after. And I'm just like, dude, my brother do something like that, we probably had some words, but yeah, I get that's his brother, but I'm like, if your brother, if you really, like Dalton said, if you really want to be successful, get out there with your brother. Help him throw the seed, help him put the fertilizer down, help him bush hog, help him do, set out trail,
Then you
help
can't get
him do
mad when you
something.
kill that buck because you put in work.
Yeah, you put in the work. But he's like, yeah, I always out kill him every year. And I'm like, well, you get in the stand before him and he's done all the work. Like he's done all the stuff. And then, my buddy still kills a pretty good deer every year, but it's not, it's not usually the main one he's after because his brother kills it. But, it is what it is.
I bet that guy would feel 100 times better if he put in the work and then reap the benefits.
Yeah, that's what I told him,
It
man.
means more. It means more.
I said it means more, man, because
for it.
Yeah, it's like, say you want like Kenton, say you want a new truck or you want a new bow. Mm-hmm. You don't have the money for it right now. And you busting your ass at work every day, working overtime. And after work, you're going cutting hay, you're going throwing hay, you're helping people do stuff on the farm. When you do get that money to buy that, it means so much more than somebody just saying, hey, here's the money. Dude, you will cherish that. You will take care of that than somebody just giving it to you. Oh, so-and-so just gave it to me. It's, it's whatever. But when it's something that you bought yourself with your own money that you worked for and worked hard for, like, it just means so much more to me.
It does.
You know what I'm saying?
It does.
This is how I was raised. I didn't want for nothing when I was a kid. Don't get me wrong. My parents weren't the richest. I grew up on a tobacco farm, but I played a lot of sports. So once summertime hit, to pay for all them baseball bats and basketballs and whatever, I'm in the tobacco field. That was my payback to my dad. Sometimes like, why am I not getting paid for this? But thinking back, I was getting paid for it. My dad was taking me to baseball tournaments, basketball tournaments, buying me shoes, Gatorades.
You had a roof over
I had a roof over my head. I had food, So now, as I'm older with a son, trying to teach him that, like, dude, I'm buying you this. take care of it. Because it's going to come to a point where daddy's going to stop buying you stuff. You got to start paying for your own stuff, and you're going to want to take more care of it because you bought it, not because daddy bought it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but yeah,
That's a fact.
kind of getting off topic a little bit, but I'm about to start preaching in a second. So, next topic that we're going to talk about is probably the last one before we get into the gear and equipment, but weather patterns. How do weather patterns like affect turkey behavior and like turkey movement?
I always notice them going to the fields when it rains. Some people say they swear by if it rains the night before, gobbler's not going to say nothing on the limb. But to me, I don't mind a light rain. Now, if it's thundering and lightning and it's raining so hard I can't see 10 foot, I'm not going out there. Full disclosure. But it's their breeding time. And I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, there was a light dusting of snow on the ground here in Kentucky in April, and we had birds fired up, and they were working good. So I think weather kind of depends on the bird, honestly, because I've seen birds that in the rain they just stand there and all punched up, and they're not doing anything. They're kind of just walking around. But I've seen birds, they can piss and rain, thunder and lightning. They're out there bowed up, strutting for them hens. So, I think weather affects turkeys individually, not as a whole. It just depends on that bird. And I always say, if it's raining a little bit, go. If you feel comfortable, go. And if you can stay warm enough, if it's cold and it's snowing in April, which is just Kentucky and it's not beyond it, go. You know what I mean? Because you never know. And you can't kill them from the couch. So I don't let weather stop me now. It kind of, I'm not going to say when it's raining they're going to gobble like they would on a 60-degree morning, clear sky and all that. But you might be surprised. Last year I called in 5 off the limb and they never shut up one time in a pretty decently hard rain, and we killed them. We killed a couple of them, and myself, I was like, there ain't no way we're going to kill something in this kind of rain. And by God, they lit up. This youth weekend, the same way. It was raining all youth weekend. I was looking for pairs of animals heading a single file line because I thought it was the second coming of the flood. And it was raining bad. And they were gobbling and they acted right. So I always say, don't let weather determine if you're going to hunt or not. If you're a guy that took off work and you only get X amount of days to go, just go.
No, you're right about that. The only thing that I would add to that is, in my area, I can say if you go out the night before, or if you go out and look at early that morning, it's clear, the sky's clear. It's a high pressure. There's not clouds in the sky. It's going to be a sunny morning. Them birds are going to gobble better. That's here. Now, I'm not saying it's everywhere, but from what I've seen where I hunt, if it's clear skies, the birds are gobbling better. If it's cloudy, low pressure, birds won't gobble near as well. But that does not mean you can't kill them, because like you said, I've killed them in the rain. I've killed them. The birds are going to do bird things every day. Every day they do bird things. Like I said earlier, there's a time period every day where every bird is killable, I believe. They do bird stuff. They're going to do their thing. This is when they mate. They're going to mate regardless if it's cold, hot, wet, whatever. But one thing I will say is, when it comes to weather, and I'm sure you've seen this too. Now, when it gets a little later in the season, starts to get hotter, where normally it does. This year it kind of didn't. We had a pretty mild May. But usually when it starts to get really hot during the middle of the day, you're not going to see those birds in the middle of the field. They're not going to be in the middle of the field. They're black. They're almost black. They're brown, almost black. They get hot. They're cold-blooded. They're birds. They're going to be in the shade. They don't want to, they're not going to stand out in the sunshine if it's warm outside. They're not going to. So, I mean, you kind of got to be smart about that. But I mean, I wouldn't say that's so much the weather affecting a bird as just using their biology against them, like just knowing kind of how they're going to react. Just like me, I'm not going to go lay in the middle of a wheat field when it's 100 degrees outside. It's going to be hot. I'm going to go
Right.
in the shade. I'm going to go down in
Yeah.
the bottoms in the shade and be comfortable. And so, I mean, I think if you use a little bit of, just a little bit of knowledge and think about it, kind of put yourself in their shoes. But either way, the weather does not. I don't think it fully affects them one way or another because I've been duck hunting before in January and it's 2 degrees and had a bird come out gobbling. They, they do bird stuff every day, so it's a matter
Right.
of, like you said, you can't kill them from the couch. But as a general rule of thumb around here where I hunt, what I've noticed is high pressure, they're going to gobble better. Low pressure, they're probably not going to gobble as much, but they're still doing bird stuff. You can still kill them.
Right. And you got to think, they live outside 365 days a year.
It's
If they
fact.
can weather that fierce cold that we get sometimes, a little bit of rain ain't gonna hurt 'em. But yeah, I do notice clear skies and high pressure really cranks them up, like real good. And if it's cloudy and low pressure, it's here and there. So I will
Yeah.
agree with that.
And that's,
Okay.
like I said, that's what I've always noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I've heard, I've always hunted. I've always hunted turkeys mostly in the morning because our farm that I hunt on, that I grew up on for turkeys, it's best to go early morning. Um, they usually roost on the neighbor's property, and we have a deer stand set up. Well, it's a makeshift deer blind that we concocted. It's awful, but it'll keep you warm in the deer stand. But anyway, they'll come out and they'll literally come down, roost down, and they'll walk this pat that the cows have. This cow, line that they've had for years. It's been there. It's like a trail, pretty much. And they'll literally walk that trail right in front of that blind into the next field. It's usually a cut cornfield over there. And if you go across the field about 100 yards, there's a pond that runs into like a creek. It's like clockwork. I mean, every year. You never know what time they're going to roost down, but it's usually anywhere between 8:30, 10 o'clock. So between them hours, you better be there. Now, deer season, it's mostly an evening spot. They're coming back to go to bed, and they'll come right across. They'll follow that track, and then you'll probably get it. Now, during the rut, this is early season. Now, during the rut, you better be there all day because you never know where they're going to come from. They've been, them does is running. I've seen them come from every direction. So, but that's a big, and then coming to the weather, from a deer hunting background, I've always been told, and I found it to be true, cold fronts. You always want to hunt the cold fronts. Early season, you can pattern pretty good or whatever, but those deer are going to move more when it gets cold. And it seems like turkeys, like you said, they do bird things every day. They're birds 365 days of the year. You've seen them gobbling 2-degree weather. You've seen them gobbling 100-degree weather. They're going to do what they're going to do.
Right.
So, but let's get into the gear and equipment that you need for the field. So, Dalton, run down some essential turkey gear that you have to go turkey hunt.
So for me, when I first started, it was face mask, gloves, long sleeve, and pants, camouflage, thin stuff. You know what I mean? You don't have to have the most expensive shotgun. The one that I swear by is Remington 870 Express. You can probably get those pretty cheap. That old 870 has probably killed more turkeys than any other gun made. A good choke tube. You don't have to have, a Jebs or a Kicks or something like that. You get you like a Primos tightwad or even a Carlson just straight turkey tube, and you'll do just fine out to 40 yards. And, obviously you want to get you some turkey loads. If you don't like a lot of recoil, you can stick with 2 3/4 or 3 inch. If you're a guy that likes to feel it on both ends, go ahead and step up to a 3.5 if you want to.
Yeah, it's
That's
gonna bruise your
all.
shoulder.
That's all up to you. So I mean, a good solid shotgun, a good reliable shotgun, a good full or extra full turkey choke. I mean, if you don't have the money for the TSS and you want a daggone good load, Winchester Longbeard XR or
Yes, sir.
something like that. If you're a beginner, box call, slate call, practice, practice, practice. Those will kill turkeys all day long. I don't wear a vest, and I haven't worn a vest for years. I mean, if you want to wear a vest, you can have one. It's just extra weight and cost. And then just if you're a decoy guy, just some good decoys. They don't have to be Dave Smiths, Dakotas, or Avians. You can get those Flambeau or those game winner ones. Heck, they're like 40 or $50, and they look daggone good. So I
Yeah, you
mean,
get
that's
that
just
three pack from Academy for I think $40 or
Yeah.
something like that.
yeah.
They work just as
And I
good.
mean, that's just the bare essentials. Now, a chair, a good, comfortable seat. I like those low profile chairs. So if I was just starting out, I would highly recommend one of those. Some guys use trigger sticks. I do not like trigger sticks because I've been there many times. Got my gun pointed this way, and a bird comes in here or there. So if you got them in a trigger stick, you got to lean. You got to just put the gun on your knee and be agile. Be ready to move because 9 times out of 10, he's not going to come right down your gun barrel.
Yeah.
Um, But for me, I mean, now me personally, I just I don't use box or slate calls much anymore. I haven't taken a slate call to the woods in probably 10 years. This is the first year in probably 10 or 12 years I took a box call. Most of the time, I've got a 4 pack mouth call lanyard. I take 2 bat wings of different brands and then like a combo cut and a V cut, and that's the only thing I got. I've got my 4 diaphragms, my low pro chair, maybe a Jake and a hen decoy depending on time of the year, and I've got my shotgun. And I'm camoed head to toe. And that's how I hit the woods day in and day out. Some of these guys that pack all this gear, they get weighted up, dude. It's hot. I don't know where you're hunting at, but it gets hot and you get sweaty and say, I don't like that. I want to be lightweight. When I go in, I want to be able to, you know, sling that off if I need to real quick and not to worry about unbuckling a vest and doing all. I just wanted to sit down and hunt. So for me, the lighter I can go in, the better.
Yeah, that's me. What about you, Ken?
So for me, I do like a vest. I'm a vest guy. I don't know. I guess I'm old school or something. And honestly, the reason why I like a vest so much is because I've had some places where I have to hunt where you got to hump it a long way to get to where you're hunting at, and I I don't like carrying that turkey over my shoulder. I don't know why. I'm gonna slide him in that vest, buddy, and I'm gonna be back out of there. And I love that. And don't get me wrong, there's times when I don't wear it. If I know I'm gonna be moving a lot, if it's really hot, I'm probably not gonna wear it just because it the benefit does not outweigh the cost to me. It's like you said, they are hot. You are going to be considerably hotter. Um, the only other thing that I would add to what you said is I really, really, really would harp on some sort of tick protection.
Oh,
Ticks
yeah.
have gotten really bad. Me myself, I like to use permethrin, and since I
Saw,
started using permethrin, I have not had a
Sawyer's.
tick on me. Have
Yeah, it's
not had a tick on me.
Sawyer's. That's Sawyer's,
It's good
man.
stuff.
Comes in a
Really
yellow
good stuff.
bottle. You can get it at Walmart, Academy, any of your big box brand stores. Spray it
Use
on your
that.
clothes the night before. Let it dry. It's good for up to like 5 or 6 washes.
Or
It's
like
the
3 months or
truth.
something like that. I mean, and so I would highly recommend that. Another thing that I do take sometimes is binoculars.
Mhm.
I like to have a set of binoculars sometimes, depending on where I'm hunting. If it's pretty wide open, I like to have those binoculars so I can see stuff, and but that's not something I'll carry all the time. And I'm trying to think. Like I know a lot of people you watch TV and stuff like that, and a lot of the turkey hunting you see on TV is usually in the deep south. They don't have as much terrain as we do around here. So one thing that I've started doing is I very rarely will wear my rubber boots turkey hunting anymore. I wear my lace up boots and I got a pair of gaiters that I put on those things. And my God, my feet have been so much happier since I started doing that because we can all agree that a rubber boot is not the most comfortable thing, especially if you're walking miles. So
Right.
I've got a really nice pair of Lowa boots, and I mean those things, dude, they're the most comfortable footwear I own. They're not heavy, and good protection because I mean I have to side hill and stuff. I mean we'll have big like river bluffs and stuff. You might have to go on down some nasty stuff. So for me personally, that's what I prefer. But other than that, like you said, man, nice thin camo or dress for the weather. Dress for the weather.
Yeah.
Let's just say that dress for the weather. You don't want to be too hot or too cold. If you do carry a vest, that's the one good thing is you can shed a layer and put it in your vest. So there's a perk to that. I usually like to carry some water because it does get hot. So I'll carry usually just a bottle of water or Gatorade or something like that. I usually don't end up touching it, but just in case I roll my ankle or something and I'll get hot or something happens, I like to be prepared. But like you said, I mean, those are the essentials, man. Get you a box call starting off, or even one of those old push button calls. I've called in a turkey with a
Mhm.
push button call before, and they do just fine. But get you something, practice with it. I will say that I honestly, in my opinion, the easiest way to get the most realistic turkey sound is a box call. My son is 3 years old, and I promise you, I can hand him a box call. He can sound like a turkey. Now, the
Mine
one thing
too.
you don't get with the box call is volume. So you got to be a little sparing with that. You get a turkey that's coming in there, he gets 40, 50 yards, and you're sitting there reaming on that thing, you're going to blow him out of there. He's going to be like, that girl's crazy. I don't want no part of that. But just choose what you want and put the time into it. And like you said, I'm like you. I use mouth calls because they're the easiest. They're hands free. I always have it in my mouth. If I got to switch them out, I got the little lanyard. Switch them out real easy. I can get a lot of different turkeys out of 2 or 3 mouth calls. So that's what I prefer. But I'm not gonna lie to you. If it gets tough or if it gets windy, I'll pick up that slate call. I got a Black Lightning Stanley Williams. Shout out to him.
Yes,
Black
sir.
Lightning slate call, and I will tell you right now, when he builds them things, boy, they got a lot of turkey. And
Yes, they
that's a
do.
powerful tool if you can use it right. But now they say it's not the easiest thing to use, but if you can use it right, it's got a lot of power
Yeah, when I use it, for some reason, I don't sound like him. I don't know why that is, but
in it. I don't sound like Stanley either. I
that
sound good enough to
man,
trick a bird, but I don't sound like no Stanley. Boy, he
I
is a bad boy on that call.
I got the I got to meet Stanley at the NWTF this year, man, and so I bought a call from him, just to support him. And he was like, "Hey, man, is that your son?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he reached in his bag, handed my son a call. And he's like, he's gonna be a turkey hunter, and my son will walk around the house all day long. He's either blowing a
That's
duck call or he's it drives my wife crazy.
That's how you learn, though. That's how you learn, man. And when he gets to being able to drive, dude, my turkey calling went from whatever it was at to what it is now because I had a turkey call in the truck. I
Mm-hmm.
literally every day I'm playing with a turkey call, a duck call, a goose call in the truck because I got to drive to work, I got to drive back from work, I got to drive to do whatever. I got a call in there, and I'm practicing. It's 365. I mean, there's no off season. It's just like any other thing you want to be good at. You got to give it your effort, like you were saying, Dalton. You got to give it that effort, and why half-ass it when you could put your full effort into it? And, to
Yeah.
me,
Oh yeah.
that's the beautiful part of turkey hunting is you get to talk to them. So why would I not want to speak that language the best I can?
Oh
Hey,
man.
speak
Well,
the language. That's Will Primos. Like,
Primos, yeah, absolutely, and that's
man,
I mean that slogan's unmatched. I mean that's a great slogan because it's the
I mean,
truth.
he literally, like, I went down a rabbit hole a few years back watching a lot of his stuff and just listening to him, and that speak the language he said comes from he's trying to paint a picture
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
of whatever situation he's in, whether he's hunting elk, deer, turkey. He's trying to paint that picture, and you want to speak the language of that animal that you're trying to go after and harvest. I mean, that's probably one of the best slogans in the outdoor industry.
Oh yeah, no, I mean they knocked out of the park with that one. I mean that's an outstanding slogan. It's outstanding.
I
It's
don't
crazy.
know how many I don't know how many turkeys and ducks and geese I've called in from the driver's seat of my truck. Just practicing.
Just
Dude,
practicing. Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's
Just practicing.
miles behind the seat, especially duck hunting, man. You're out there, you're scouting, duck and goose hunting, you're scouting. You're in the truck all day anyway. Why would you not be blowing on a call?
Yeah.
Getting ready for them. And I mean, it
Yeah.
takes time. It's an instrument. That's another thing. I encourage people to look at animal calls, like any kind of hunting call. I don't care if it's a rabbit or like a dead or wounded rabbit call or a coyote howler or a elk call, whatever it is, any animal that you can call in, you have to look at that call as if it's a musical instrument because that's what it is.
Mhm.
Right.
And
Right.
when
You're
I
right.
started looking at a duck and a goose call as a musical instrument, something clicked in my brain and I figured it out. Same thing with the turkey call. It's a musical instrument. You got to figure it out. And it takes practice and dedication. Very few people pick up a duck call, goose call, turkey call. I mean, how many people have you seen put a mouth call in their mouth for the first time and sound decent? I ain't. They usually
Man.
sound
Nah,
like a dying cat when they do it
yeah, it
because it's
sounds
weird.
awful.
It's unusual when you put that
Yeah.
in your mouth.
Mhm.
I mean, it's something new, but it's that instrument. And there's just something in me that just I have a very high drive to figure out certain things, and that's one of those things that I mean, it grabbed a hold of me, and I had to figure it out. I was going to. I didn't care. I was
Yeah.
going to figure it out.
And
Yeah.
another thing,
I'll
man,
tell everybody that, like, if you're, wanting to use a mouth call, slate call, whatever, like, get on YouTube, find somebody, to show you how, and then just keep practicing. But
oh yeah,
lately, when
YouTube's a
people
big
ask me, like,
source.
I want to use a mouth call, get on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Bo Brooks.
mm-hmm.
Dude,
That
my favorite,
man is a
Scott
beast.
Ellis.
Scott Ellis is a beast too.
Dude,
Hey,
but he to
Paul
me
Butsky,
who?
Paul Butsky,
Oh,
Butsky's a beast.
you know,
phenomenal,
I mean,
phenomenal.
yeah.
any of them guys, man. But like, I got, Higdon Outdoors, they're in Paducah, and,
Yep.
Bo's sponsored by them. I met him at the NWTF, and I went to the booth just to meet him, shook his hand. Great guy, great guy. And this kid came up to him, was like, "Hey, Bo, I've been watching your videos or whatever." And he put that mouth call in. This kid's like 7 years old, and like knocked it out of the park. So Bo put his in. They're sitting there having a contest back and forth, dude. And I'm like, that kid's gonna be something. He said, dude, he said, I know how much I love kids to come up to me and say they watch my videos and whatever. He said, that's why I do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool to see, guys like that giving back to the community, and
Absolutely.
it's a cool feeling. It's awesome.
If you wanted to watch another one who is an absolute turkey killer, no matter if you could drop him off anywhere in the 49 states that's got birds and give him 2 days, and I bet he kills every one of them out there. Dave
Oh
Owens,
yeah,
Kentucky Pride.
Dave. Yep. I was about to. Yep. I knew you was about to say. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dave
and
is a beast.
there's a
I
lot
got
of
turned on to him a
repeated
couple
ones.
years ago. My buddy was telling me about him because I'd seen like when I went to the NWTF, I'd see like their big sign up there, and it'd be 1,000 people over there. I'm like, who's this guy?
No pinhole.
Got on
Whew.
YouTube, and I was like, oh, I see why they're over there now.
No
you know,
Dave
pinhole.
Owens is a bad man.
yeah, bad man. But
If I was
all
a
right, I'm about.
turkey, I don't want to see him coming.
Oh no, absolutely.
No.
Like John Collins, man. If y'all watch him, I'm a big, I like coyote hunting. Uh, John Collins, Fox Pro, man. If
Bad
I'm a
dude.
coyote, I don't want to
You
see
don't want
that
to see
man
him.
nowhere near me.
No.
All right, I'm gonna switch gears here for a second. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here. All right, so years ago, when our grandfathers and great grandfathers were out in the woods, they were killing turkeys and deer with bright red flannels on, blue jeans, ain't no telling what kind of hat, smoking cigars, smoking their pipes or whatever. Does camouflage really make that much of a difference in the woods hunting turkeys?
No, sitting still does.
Bad, boom, you hit the nail on the head. If you
You
sit
can,
still,
hey, listen, I have killed turkeys in blue jeans and an orange t-shirt. Sitting still. I don't care what color it is, as long as it don't move, they don't pay attention to it. That's just
they
like
see
popping a
trash all
ground blind
day.
up in the middle of the field. The same morning, you can pop a ground blind up in the middle of the field the same morning after a turkey. They don't pay attention to it. If it
Absolutely, they
doesn't
don't
move, they
care.
don't care.
It's a
Just
fact.
sit still.
Just sit still.
But now, what I will tell you about camouflage is when it comes to turkeys, camouflage will let you get away with a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Camouflage is camouflage kills a lot of turkeys, and I'll tell you why. Because you get that bird to come in there, and he comes from where you don't expect him to, behind you, to the side, whatever, and you got to make that quick move to get the gun on him to be able to get your shot off. That's when that camouflage kills those turkeys. it
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
it don't kill him no other time than that. But if you're sitting still, he's right. I mean, if you sit still, they don't pay no attention to it. It's like they're keyed off of movement. You gotta think, dude. You've seen a turkey move. They're always moving. They're kind of cracked out like a squirrel. They're always moving. That head's
All,
Yeah, they're
always
always
going.
moving.
all the
And
time.
that's what they key on. They key on movement. Birds are they key off of movement really well. Same thing with duck hunting. You don't have to wear camo to duck hunt. You have to be still. If you be
Mhm.
still and kind of play the shadows. Now, granted, if you're a lighter skinned person, you don't want that bright face shining because that's a little weird. They're not really gonna like that. But I mean, you could probably get away with it if you're still enough. But I mean, that's what birds key off of movement so well. And then when it comes to deer, camouflage does not matter at all. I've killed a deer in the whatever you want, man. Dude, I mean, dude, blue jeans, killed them in sweatpants. It don't really matter for a deer.
They
Personally, I
don't.
don't think it does. Once again, it's more movement and smell.
Mm-hmm.
But no, man, you can kill a turkey wearing just about anything you want to if you can be still enough.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, does camouflage help? Yeah. It probably
Oh yeah,
helps. But being still will kill anything. I promise you.
Yep. I
it's a
agree.
fact.
I agree. Yeah, just because I have that conversation with a bunch of guys. They want to go out and buy the most expensive Sitka, and they want to buy the Kuiu, and they want to buy the First Light. Dude, I'm going to Magellan to Academy buying bottomland. Most of the
Ain't
time
nothing
when
wrong with
you
that.
see me hunting anything, I'm in bottomland. That's what I like. I know Dalton's buddy Tyler, our buddy Tyler, he likes Sitka. I don't know if Dalton's on that train yet or not.
I
I
don't
tried
really
it.
turkey
I
hunting.
didn't like it much just because of the price point for one. Um, for two, I I liked some of the patterns, but to get what I wanted to get, it was going to cost me just way too much money. And I was like, I'm
Mhm.
not going down this road. So now, I'll put on some Bandit, and I'll put on some Magellan, basically whatever I can find on sale that's in bottomland, I'm probably gonna buy it, and that fits me. I'm a big dude,
Brother,
so
Walmart. I've bought so much Walmart camo over the past my time hunting, and it's like
yeah,
honestly, if you sit there and wait, they're always a few years behind. But dude, I bought a pair of turkey hunting pants from Walmart like 3 or 4 years ago, and them things they was nice. The fit
right.
was a little weird. There was a little baggy down toward the bottom of the leg, but other than that, I mean, they were light. They dried quick. The fit was fine everywhere else. And it's like, man, you can go to Walmart and buy the gear you need. You don't have to spend a fortune. And I know that's part of hunting, and that's part of camouflage. A lot of the camouflage is not designed to. It's not designed for the animals not to be able to see us. It's designed to look appealing to our eyes, so that we want to
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
buy it and wear it. And so when you
Right.
think it's just like fishing lures, dude,
Mm-hmm.
fishing lures don't catch fish; they catch fishermen, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it is. The
Yeah.
patterns on them and stuff. It's like, man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. I mean, I'm sure you all have too. I've killed animals wearing any kind of camo you can think of, man, from Advantage to old real tree to Sitka to whatever. You
Yeah.
know,
See, me personally, I wear real tree timber from Florida to Tennessee turkey season. Realtree timber. That's my favorite turkey hunting pattern. Face mask, gloves, shirt, pants, boots, Realtree timber. That's my favorite turkey hunting pattern. And I think I like it so much because it's so dark. When you get up in the shades and the shadows, you really can't see you. And I know
That's the same thing.
like bottomland blends in good too. Don't get me wrong. I just despise mossy oak. Sorry, I don't like mossy oak that much. I'm a Realtree guy. No, nothing
Really,
against it. Yeah, I don't like. I don't own a
I'm
stick of
Mossy Oak
mossy oak.
man.
I don't
I'm
own
a
a stick
Mossy Oak
of
man.
mossy oak. I don't touch it. I don't buy it. None of that. I like Realtree, and I don't know why, but that's just
I'm
what
the
I've
exact
always
opposite
been.
way. It's hilarious because I'm the exact opposite way. Like I do not wear Realtree. I don't know why. I just do not wear Realtree.
Well, I've
I will
got
wear Mossy Oak. I'll wear Sitka. I just do not unless somebody gives me something that's Realtree. Then because I appreciate the gift, I'll wear it. But I will not buy Realtree. I don't know what it is. There's no reason. I have no reason for it
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
can really
I won't
articulate.
blame
It's just
I've got bottomland stuff mostly, but I think I'm gonna start buying for some reason, man, that Realtree Max 7 has got me in a whirlwind for some reason. Like every time I see it, I'm just like, because for some reason I didn't like the Max 5, I didn't like the Max 4, but for some reason, like that Max 7, I was just like, I like this. So I
if I
think I'm
can
gonna
find it.
give me something for duck season, man. When we're hunting those fields, that's probably what I'm gonna end up wearing in the field, when we're not hunting timber. So
If I can find it and like white shirt and pants, I'm gonna get some of that Realtree originals coming back. I'm gonna get some
is
of
it?
that. Yes, dude. That's the like Tyler Jordan, all the Realtree guys. That's all they wore all year is that Realtree original. It's coming back, and if I can find it
yeah,
here,
but you know
that's when I'm going.
that Realtree original looks an awful lot like original Bottomland though, don't
Yeah, it sounds neither.
it?
It
No.
does. I mean, it does.
Mm-mm.
And that Realtree, that legacy that they just came
Yeah,
out with, that looks an awful lot like Bottomland. A
but
little more
hey,
green.
man, no, and it don't matter, man. People like what they like, and it, like I said, it
Mhm.
doesn't. That's not what kills the animals. And it's like you can wear whatever you want, and that's the cool thing about it. It's like, dude, we can wear different camo and still get along and stuff like that. It's not a die hard thing. And I know you see it all the time on forums and stuff. All the Sitka boys, the llamas, the what alpacas, whatever they call 'em. And it's like,
Yeah,
man, it don't matter. And I will say it's like, man, to me, to my eye, and to like looking at stuff, dude, I think Bottomland works great. I'm not gonna sit here and try and act like Realtree don't make good camo. Of course they make good camo. Like you said, the timber, the original Realtree, that's all good stuff. But I mean, how many
Mhm.
mhm.
times back in the day did our grandpa sit there and kill turkeys and deer wearing fatigues? It's like, dude, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Wear whatever you like.
No,
If it looks good to your eye and you like it, wear it.
Right, right. Well, that brings me to my next point then, because we're talking about, camouflage and all that. Besides movement, what's what are some very common mistakes that turkey hunters make when they're in the
oh,
woods?
you talking like when you're sitting still and moving? They're talking about.
Well, yeah,
Or
besides
are you talking about
movement,
getting up and moving after a bird?
yeah, yeah. Well, getting up, moving after a bird, like, so
Yeah,
basically what I'm asking is like, besides, because you don't want to move if you see a bird or whatever, but like, what other common mistakes do you see turkey hunters make? Whether it's like their decoy spread, whether it's their setup, whether it's running and gunning the wrong way. Like, give me
so
some mistakes that you see like turkey, some hunters make out there.
I can think of a couple off the top of my head. One's overcalling. If he's committed, you don't have to call to him every gobble. Um, Another one is, and I've seen it many times, and I actually get on to people now, and one of them would be my mother, and one of them would be Tyler. If the bird is gobbling and working, do not have your gun sitting down. Dude, I mean, as soon as I sit next to that tree, my right leg is out, my left leg is bent, my gun is on my knee, and my buttstock is in my shoulder. do not sit your gun
Be
on
ready.
the
Be
ground.
ready
Do
to
not
happen
leave it
fast.
horizontal across your lap. And you got to be ready at all times because he may be gobbling at 100 yards, but that last 90, he may not make a sound. Then all of a sudden, bam, there he is. All you got to pick up and go. Yeah, that ain't going to cut it. So now I'm like, hey, just stay ready. Stay ready. That's one thing I got to say is always stay ready. You don't have to be shoulder gun looking at a sight 24/7, but like just have your gun in a position where you can move it. And I think sometimes with setups, people don't take, the bird gobbles and he's like right there. He's 60, 70 yards. You got to jump down real quick. Take your time. Just because he gobbled right there doesn't mean he's going to cover 40 yards that fast. Take your time, pick a good tree, and make sure you can shoot all the way in front of you. Don't put things in between you. Don't put, tree. He might come in and stop behind a tree, but he can see it. You can't. So just think about, you don't know what path he's going to take in here. So for me, if a bird gobbles straight ahead, I put my off shoulder to where he just gobbled it. That way I can go like this all the way around this way if he comes in over here. I don't ever sit there square at him. I put my offside shoulder facing him. And that's where a lot of people mess up. They didn't want to sit square at him because they think he's going to come straight down the barrel. That ain't always going to happen. So you got to position yourself where if he flanks you left or right or something like that, you want to be able to pivot and move. I don't know. I mean, with decoys, I mean, you can never go wrong with a single hen, but sometimes with a single hen, that bird might hang up wanting her to come to him. If you use a Jake and a hen, if that bird's been beat up by Jake, he's not going to come in. It really just, you don't know about your decoys until the bird sees your decoys, really. And now, if he sees it and he didn't like it the next day, don't run it the same way. Try something different, or try no decoys and just try calling him in. But those are three real big things I can think of. Don't overcall, always be ready, and sit in a position where you can shoot a wide range.
Gotcha. You got anything, Kenton?
Man, I mean, he kind of hit him on the head, but like I'll just kind of reiterate, like when you pick your place to sit, make sure you have ample back cover. Don't sit where you're wide open behind you. Don't sit on a 2-inch sapling that has no brush behind it. Like they're going to pick you out. If you move, they're going to pick you out. And it's hard to sit still. And also, I mean, like you said, be ready. Be ready. You got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to go. And another thing is like it'll take time, but you got to learn how to read birds, and that's going to teach you how to call the birds. Because some birds you
Yeah.
got to call them right to. You got to talk to them the whole way. It's just like ducks. Sometimes you got to talk to them the whole way into the decoys. Some birds you don't. Some birds you hit them and they know they're coming. But you got to be able to read birds, and that takes time. You're going to mess it up. And even if you know how to read birds like Dalton, you're going to mess up birds. I'm going to mess up birds. It's going to happen. You're never going to win every time. You're just not. So,
No.
and that's the beauty of it, honestly. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's the big thing. Like you said, set where you can shoot, because that's a mistake I used to make all the time when I was first starting. I would set square onto the bird, like you're saying, don't do, and I'd sit there and be ready, and that bird come in from the side. And another thing is, like, I will turn as far as I can. Like sometimes I will even have my back. Like I think the bird's gonna come in over there. I'll even have my back to them a little bit because I know I can go like this. But then that gets me to get all the way over here if I have to. And sometimes I will turn that much just because I know if I don't know exactly where he's coming from, but I think he's coming from that way, I'll turn to where I know I can pretty much get as far around as I can.
Right.
Yeah. So one more thing I like to add to that is some people I take hunting, they're big seers. If they can't see the turkey, they want to see it. So they're constantly wanting to fidget and move. I'm like,
Searching
hey,
for it.
you let your ears be your eyes, okay? Just because he's not gobbling, you will pick up on the spit and drum and listen for the leaves, listen for the wings that drag the ground when he's strutting. Use your ears more than your eyes when they're in close, because you peeking up and going like that, you might not be able to see him, but something that sees like us using binoculars is going to see that. I don't care how thick the woods are or how tall the grass is. They will see
Right.
it. So let your ears become your eyes, so to speak, when they're getting in close and they're not gobbling. Just try to pick up on movements. And it is hard to pinpoint a spitting drum if he's at 50 and 60. Now if he's spitting drums at 20, you can
No,
pinpoint that.
you know where he's at then, because you can feel it. You know
Because
where he's at.
when I first started, man, I was a seer. I had to see it. I can't stand sitting here. I know he's coming, but I can't stand sitting here and not being able to see him. I got to be able to see him. But now that I'm older and I've learned my lesson after numerous errors, I know to just sit still because eventually he's going to show face. Eventually he's gonna posture up behind an oak or behind a down limb or through the mayaples. You're gonna see him, and then once you pick up that, if he's off kilter or where you're aiming, move real nice and slow. And then the other thing I gotta say is, if that bird's at 100 yards and you can see him clearly, go ahead and get on him because he may get to 50 or 40 and he may pick something up and he may go from full strut to tucked in his wings and turning to leave, and you got to shoot now. You don't have, because now he's already nervous. And if you spin, he's already at high alert. Boy, he ain't got to stick his head up. But what was that? He's sprinting. So go ahead. No matter who I take, if you can see him, go ahead and get on him. You ain't got to beat down real hard, but get on him. Now, when he breaks 60, put the dot on him or put the bead on him and hold it and just follow him the whole time because you got him. So that's another little thing. You don't always have to see him. Just use your ears.
That's a fact. And sometimes I'll close my eyes. Like if I
Mhm.
think I hear one drumming, sometimes I will literally close my eyes so that it don't make no sense and I don't know if it really works, but I feel like I can hear me. I think it just makes you focus.
Oh,
You're not getting so much
It
sensory
does.
deprivation.
It makes you focus. That's for sure.
But so I'll do that sometimes, especially if I can hear one. I think I heard one drum. I'll sit there literally with my eyes closed until he drums again, and I hear him. I'm like, okay, and I think it helps you be able to pinpoint them a little better when they're drumming. But it's not the end all be all, and you can still be wrong. But like you said, do not be peeking. Just trust in the process. He's gonna come. He'll show himself. Just trust it. Trust that he'll show himself. And if he doesn't, and you don't spook him off, call him back in. It's you know what I'm
yeah.
saying. If you
Right.
don't spook him
Let
off
him
and he just
let him
walks off
ease
on his
off.
own,
Yeah, let him
yeah,
ease off. Swing around, call him in again.
exactly.
That is possible. I've even
And it
shot at a
works.
bird and missed him. Yes, I've shot at a bird and missed him. And instead of just keep on like I'm duck hunting, I just let him go away, let him gobble again on his own, reposition, and call him in and kill him. You can
Exactly.
100% do that.
Walnut brain. Don't forget that the bird has his brain the size of a walnut. You're
And a
Yeah.
not
memory span of
hunting a
5 minutes.
person.
What I've always been told. They can only
Exactly.
remember for 5 minutes.
They're like a goldfish, man. They don't remember much.
Mm-mm.
They
Yeah.
don't. They really don't. They'll forget, especially in the heat of love. You know what I'm saying? They're not too keen on remembering stuff. If he
Yeah.
sees or hears a nice
Yeah.
woman over there, he's gonna go check her
For sure, man. Well, boys, I think we've covered pretty much everything we need to cover, man. I
Oh,
appreciate y'all getting on um,
out.
tonight
Anytime,
with
brother.
me. Definitely gonna have to get us a hunt together for sure. I know
Oh
we
yeah.
say this all the time, but I know me and Kenton we've shot together before, and I think Dalton we've been hunting together some too in the dove field. But
mm-hmm.
old Tyler's doggy got sick and we had to leave. But
Having seizures got too much.
yeah, so yeah, we're definitely gonna have to
So
get together. But
one thing I am interested in before we leave, and a lot of people are, I know I am when I'm watching videos and things, I want to know how people's guns are set up. That's a big thing in the turkey world. What
It is
gun are
a
you
big thing.
shooting? What tube are you running? What's the length of your barrel? Are you using 2 3/4, 3 3.5? You shooting 12, 20, 410, 28. So, like for me, I've always used a 12 gauge when I was younger and was in Hercules mode, the toughest thing in the world. I shot 3.5s, swore by them. About 6 years ago, they got kicked to the can. I'm not a tough guy anymore. I'd kill them a 3 inch all day. Um, Me personally, I like a semi-automatic gun. Um, I think the recoil is a little lighter. You can get back on target faster. If you miss, you ain't got to pump and try to get back on him. I shoot a Rite with a 24-inch barrel, Rite Gordion. I just recently, I think 2 or 3 seasons ago, put a red dot on it because I'm shooting a Jeb's double extra full 660, shooting TSS number 9s. And 2 years ago, the first 2 birds I shot at, I missed them on the first shot because the pattern was too tight. And I actually had to aim it like a rifle instead of pointing like a shotgun. And I'm not saying you just got to point a shotgun. I want you to actually aim at the bird. But a lot of people get in the heat of the moment like, oh, it's a shotgun that's got a point. So I learned my lesson pretty quick. And I actually put a Vortex Venom red dot on it. And I've killed birds at 10 steps and I've killed birds at 60 yards with it. And I absolutely love it. And I shoot 3-inch number 9 Rogue TSS hand loads. And I've been through a lot of, I used to shoot nothing but XRs. The TSS came out and I wanted to try it. And I did. And I probably shouldn't have because it cost me a lot of money. You absolutely don't need it. You don't need TSS to kill a bird at 20, 25, even 50 yards. You don't need it. But for me, I don't know. For some reason, I feel like I want something that if I misjudge distance, I'm still going to kill that bird ethically. I'm not just going to wound him and have to shoot him again. So I do like the tungsten. And I do like the really tight choke tubes. It's a bear at close range, and it does do a lot of damage at close range. You really don't want to see their heads afterwards. But for me, that's what I run. My mom runs a 410 with number 9 TSS and a Jeb's tube in it. And most of the people I'm with are Jeb's tubes or either Rite, Franke, or no Benelli guys. They got those TriStar guns. Most of the time it's Jeb's tube or a Carlson's tube, and most of the time it's tungsten.
Yeah. I started off with Mossberg 535 with a Primos jelly head is what I had. And I was shooting Winchester XRs with those. Pattern fantastic. Then I sold it and got an 835 with a jelly head choke. And I found that the nitros work better in that gun than the Winchesters did. So that's what I shot. Now, shooting a Rite Masamara with the new Briley's Helix turkey. Patterned it. Didn't harvest anything with it this year, but the pattern. So I reached out to Briley's last year right before duck season. They sent me a few of their Helix Hunter chokes, and they do damage. I'm gonna put it that way. Shout out to Briley's for that. But I mean, Carlson makes a good choke. Jeb's makes a good choke. Basically, your gun, you're probably going to have to try 2 or 3 chokes, and you're just going to have to pattern your gun and see which ammo works best. Just like the deer hunters out there, you got to figure out which ammo goes best with your rifle. Don't just buy a choke the day before turkey season and buy some ammo.
Do not
go out there. Don't do it. Do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. Pattern your gun. See where it's shooting. Just make sure you can get those turkey targets at Cabela's Academy. I think they're like a 12-pack for like $7. Pattern it at 40. Pattern it at 50 if you want. Just make sure you know where that gun is shooting, and that's what I've shot there in the turkey woods. I've killed 1 turkey with a bow. That was like I said, that was a crazy hunt. That was back I guess in the fall of like 2018, maybe. Might have been 2019. But that bird literally came in. It was during the fall of the year. That bird came in at 5 yards. And I was going to put my 20 pin on him, but I was like, I'll miss him at 20 yards. He's at 5 yards. So I put my 30 pin on him, smoked him. Because I said if I'd have probably hit him, because you know this, Kenton, some of these 3D shoots we go to, they got stuff 3-4 yards.
Two and a
You
half
put
yards.
you put your 20 pin on that thing, you're gonna miss it.
You're missing. Yeah.
So you
You got to
got to
shoot
dial
like
it
your
down.
30, 40 pin.
Yeah, you're 30 or 40, So I tell some of you, the bow hunters out there, make sure, that like Holden is real good with this. My best friend, like he'll dial his all the way 10, all the way to 1 yard, so he knows exactly where he needs to dial.
Mhm.
It's just you just got to do your due diligence to know where to shoot. Some people don't know where to shoot a bird. Um,
Yeah.
some people aim for the body. They've never been taught anything else. You want to aim for the bottom of that neck, top, somewhere. Let that pattern spread on them. And if you're shooting a bow, I've always been taught to shoot right at the back of the, where the wing meets the body, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's
Mhm.
turned where his fan is, shoot right below that fan.
Mhm.
So I mean, just little things like that you pick up on from OGs and just watching people on YouTube. And we've got a lot more technology now than the old school did. We've got a lot
Mm-hmm.
more information out there, and even your old school guys, your OGs, they can give you information that you're not going to find on YouTube that might work for you.
That's
But
it.
what works for you might not work for me. Like you
Mm-mm.
said, no bird's the same. So that mouth call that you get from, you know, one of your major mouth, your brand callers might not work for me. I
Mhm.
might have to go get a hunting public call that might call that bird in, or I might have my Walmart call, the little push button that might work too. It's all trial and error.
It is. You're 100% right.
Yeah, man, it's
And
all trial and error. But
well, for me, I shoot. I started off like everybody, shooting a 12 gauge, 3.5, all this stuff. And I remember before they even had the long beard XRs, they used to have the Winchester Supremes. Those in the
Oh
oh,
black
God,
box with the red
so
leather,
many
baby.
things.
Hey, that shell was bad. Them was some
Mm-hmm.
bad boys right there. So
Mm-hmm.
shot those, and then I'm a 20 gauge guy, so I've got a Stoger M3020 semi-auto 20 gauge. I like to shoot a semi-auto, just like Dalton and just like Courtney, and so I am kind of a nerd when it comes to guns and ammo and all that stuff. Like I like to get really into the woods with that stuff, and so I make my own shot shells. I make my own tungsten shot shells. I roll my own. So I got a recipe that I use and I hand load my own shells. Okay.
you've been
And
holding
to
down on
me,
me. Both of
I
y'all been
get
holding down on me.
I get better performance out of those shells than I have anything I've shot off the shelf or any of the boutique brands even. But and so I shoot that 30-20. I've got a 28-inch barrel. I wish I had like a 22-inch barrel, but that's what I got. So and it works. Why would I change it? And then I shoot a more custom choke. I shoot a Sun Toy Customs choke. And it's a guy that I think he's out of Georgia, and he makes
Mm-hmm.
those chokes. They're machine shop, and dude, that thing is a hammer. Like Dalton said with that gun, I've killed turkeys further than I care to admit, and I've killed them all the way into 5 yards. But the biggest thing, and like Courtney hit on this, and this is what I was going to hit on if you didn't, you owe it to the bird to pattern your gun. I can
Absolutely.
remember back in the day, nobody would pattern their gun. People would miss turkeys. Misses happened all the time. It was crazy. Pattern your gun. Another thing I'll say, and Courtney kind of touched on this too. I can say for myself and the people that I've taken hunting and the people that I've hunt with, the majority of the turkeys you miss, you're shooting over them. You're shooting over their
Mm-hmm.
head. So, and everybody wants to aim for that head. That head's never still. That head that we talked about this earlier. That head's always moving. It's always moving around. So at the base of the neck where the feathers meet, that's where I like to aim. And generally, most of your guns, they'll pattern just a tick high. And from what I've seen with the turkey choke and turkey loads, I don't know if it's extra speed or whatever, but they'll pattern a tick high. So usually, if you aim right here at the base of that neck, you're going to eat that head and neck area up. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
another tip I give somebody starting off. And when you pattern your gun, you'll see that. So I always start off with my pattern a gun. I mean, I shoot a red dot, like Dalton said. I shoot a red dot on my turkey guns. I like a Burris Fast Fire 3. That's just what works well for me. I like it. I mean, I know I've got buddies that use the Vortexes. They're good. Hollow Suns. I mean, there's a bunch of good brands out there. And there's some that are really actually very affordable. Actually, I bought a Bushnell year before last and put that on a 12 gauge because I make a 12 gauge hand load as well, and it's a load, dude. It's a 2 3/4 inch, 2 ounce of number nines.
That's a
It's a
load.
hammer. It's a hammer. It's a hammer. 2 3/4 inch, dude. It's a hammer, dude. So, but no, I put a bush now I got from Cabela's for $100. Put it on the gun, held zero perfectly. I even shot some 3.5s out of it just to see if the sight would hold up. Never had a problem out of it. But like I said, me personally, I'm gonna shoot sub gauge. Like I've shot them with a 410. I personally probably may never kill another turkey with a 12 gauge. Who knows? I mean, if something happens and I have to, cool, whatever. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying, like, I'm in love with those sub gauges. I love that 20 gauge. I mean, that is my turkey gun. That's the only thing that gun does anymore. It's the only thing it does. Is shoot
Yeah.
turkeys. That's it.
That's my retail. The only time it comes out of the case is when it goes turkey hunting. Now
That's
I have
exactly.
bought two 410s and completely set them up for turkey hunting, but for some reason I cannot break taking that 12. I
Dude, once you do
cannot
it,
break it.
the 410 is so worth it. It is how it feels wrong because it feels like
It
you're out there
does.
with a toy. But I promise you, and especially I'm a big guy, like I'm a big guy. And so I mean I know I looked ridiculous with this little 410, but I went to Walmart and bought a TriStar 410, pump 410 for like $150 and then put a Carlson's tube in it and bought some TSS and patterned it. And that thing patterned outstanding. You could
Mhm.
literally probably kill a bird at 50 yards with that gun. Now, would I do it? No, not with the 410, no way. But 35 yards, the bird I killed with was the 35 yards, absolutely rolled him up with a 410. And
Yeah.
like to me, that was just so cool because it was a 410. It doesn't, it's weird because back in the day, it was unheard of. You're not shooting a bird.
Yeah.
You might shoot one at 10 steps. You're not shooting one at 30 yards with
Yeah.
lead out
It,
of a
well,
410. So
that's how far ammo's come though, man.
yeah,
Like everybody wants
Yeah.
to pack light. And even duck hunting now, man. People are shooting 20 gauges with the new, that Migra
that's
two
all I
six
shoot.
stack or that bismuth
All
and
I
that
shoot.
TSS. Like,
Literally.
why would you take a 12 gauge if you could get away with a 20 that's a lot lighter,
I don't hunt. I don't hunt with a 12 gauge no more for anything. I'm talking
Yeah.
about, dude. I'll go to Illinois and shoot big Canada geese, and I'm shooting a 20 gauge. Everybody else in the blind shooting 12 gauge or 3.5. They look at me. I'm killing birds at 40 yards. They're like, dude, what are you shooting? I ain't nothing but a little 20 gauge, just a little Super Black Eagle 320 gauge, and they're like, no shot, dude. I'm like, dude, that Boss Bismuth with that 20 gauge, and if you
Oh,
pattern your gun and know
nasty.
what it does,
Yeah.
it's a bad boy.
I
You're
like
getting
the
Dalton.
boss and the
You're getting
moderate
Dalton
stuff.
excited now. He likes him and Dalton or Tyler like it boss now.
So, kind of like Kenton said, when I was growing up, I nerded out on all that too. I have got a graveyard of choke tubes, and I've got a graveyard of old shells. Like, start out Remington 870 with a jelly head. I can remember shooting the Federal flight controls when they first came out, the Winchester extended range, the
Yeah.
Supremes, the Remington. Do you remember the Remington heavy shot shells? The
Yeah.
Remington Premier heavy shot, the little short green ones. I
Oh
still
yeah.
got those. I remember, dude, going back there, I thought those are the best thing. And then tungsten hit the market, and I was like, there's no way I can take this 410 and kill a bird at 50 yards. And by God, I seen it happen in person. And I was like, there ain't no way. There ain't no way. And the person that did it, my mom. I
Yeah.
didn't know he was that far away. And I was like, yeah, go ahead and try him. But when I stood up, I was like, there ain't no way. 50 yards on the dot, that 410. But that just goes to show how far things, there's no telling where we're headed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the turkey
Like,
world, there's no telling where we're headed. But I
yeah.
mean, that Jeb's tube that I got, I called them and they machined it for the shells and stuff that I shoot. So I do believe in custom tubes if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, you don't
Absolutely.
have to, but if you want to, and if you want to nerd out on it, I mean, and you get the most you can get out of your gun, And that's my thing is like, dude, I just kind of like it because I like to push them to the limit. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm going to shoot a turkey at 90 yards, but can I get a sufficient pattern at 90 yards? Yeah, it's a game I play. But I'm not going to shoot a turkey out there. I'm not doing that. But like I said, it's nice to have something that's capable.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. But like I said, man, I appreciate y'all hopping on the podcast.
Appreciate you having me.
One more question I want to ask both of y'all. It's kind of a loaded question. It's kind of a harder question. But here it goes. Dalton, I'm going to ask you first. What's one thing that you wish you knew before you started turkey hunting?
Ooh.
You know it now. You didn't know it then. What's one thing that you wish you knew before you started turkey hunting?
I wish before I started turkey hunting, I wish I knew, I guess, how to read the bird and understand their mannerisms. Understand, like when you call to him, is he shot gobbling at it or is he gobbling because he likes it? Is he coming? Is he going? Is he actually going to commit? I wish I knew how to read a bird in the beginning, because boy, I'd have killed so many more birds.
You'd be
I wish I would have known. Just because he's gone quiet doesn't mean he's not coming. Because there's been many times I went just like this and stood up from that tree, and there he is, 40 yards in the thick, and I can't see him. So yeah, those right there, reading the bird and learning to just sit still.
What about you, Ken?
Took the word out of my mouth. I was going to say that. I wish I would have known that just because he's quiet does not mean he's not interested. He's not coming. Because I'm telling you right now, it was nothing for me when I was first starting out to bust birds left and right. I'd get up and try and cut the distance just because he shut up for 5 seconds. It wouldn't be 5 seconds, but I mean, he shut up for 10 minutes and we'd run into each other on the trail. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Because I just didn't know no better, and it took forever for me to understand. Because sometimes I'd bust them not even know it because they see me coming or hear me, and they bugger off, and I just never see them. Man, that turkey just disappeared. Like I know he was over here. Where'd he go? And never. It took forever for it occurred to me that wait, you bumped him off. And so no, if I would have learned that, if I knew that before I started, I would have killed a whole lot more birds.
And I think so many hunters do that because they see so many people on TV do that. But you got to understand, those people on TV, most of them have been doing this longer than you've been alive, and they've learned this.
They've learned it.
And they probably know where they're at. They know the terrain. Because that's another thing. If you know the terrain where you're at, you can get away with doing a lot of things that you can't on a piece of ground you don't know. So.
Right. Well, you're gonna laugh when I when I tell you what I wish I would have known. My third turkey hunt ever. I was with a buddy. We were on his granddad's property. It's about 8:30 in the morning. We park on the road, walk in. Beautiful place, man. Like set up for turkeys. I mean, it's gorgeous. So we're walking through this pasture, going to the woods. Birds are gobbling their absolute heads off. So we set up kind of on this ridge. We could see the turkeys down there kind of in the field, and they were walking to our right. They were kind of walking away from us. So my buddy was like, hey, let's make a play. We need to go pretty much cut them off. So we pretty much take off kind of running. Ended up cutting them off. They're about 50 yards to our left now. And I'm sitting on a tree stump on the right. He's sitting on a tree stump to his left. We got plenty of brush in the back. We got a lot of camouflage foliage and stuff in the back. This is before I had glasses, so I had a face mask on because when I wear a face mask now, it fogs my glasses up, so I don't wear a face mask. My buddy's sitting on the left, and he looks at me. He said, bro, I got to go to the bathroom real bad. I said, dude, these birds are about to be here in like 10 seconds. I said, you got You got to hold it. He said, dude, I can't. I said, dude, if you move, I'm going to punch you in the face. I swear I'm going to punch you in the face. So he's over there. You can just see his leg just shaking. Like he's just like trying to hold it. Dalton, you know who this is. I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you off air who it is. So he's sitting there and he's just shaking. I'm looking over. I was like, hey, bro, be still. Here they come. So seen 3 heads pop up, dude. One of the goblins, his beard is literally dragging the ground. And I'm like, all right, on 3. He's like, I can't do it. No, this dude lets out a fart that sounded like thunder.
Oh God.
So these birds take off. So I get up and start chasing them. Like he's still sitting down. I get up, start chasing these birds. And they're running. And I'm like, I'm about to stop and just shoot one, right? So these birds are running. And I was like, what do I need to stop? I need to stop. I'm trying to tell myself, like, I need to stop and shoot. Well, they get to this little ridge. These sunbucks take off flying. And I said, I didn't know turkeys could fly. Until that moment.
But that's something for real though. A lot of people have never seen a turkey fly.
What in the world? And then my buddy's like, where'd they go? I said, they flew to the other ridge over there. He said, turkeys can fly? I said, I guess. I said, I just seen 3 of them take off. Y'all think it's funny, but like I had like
I get it.
I didn't know.
What you're saying. I understand it. Like you don't know if you don't know because they're big, and you're like, man, well, ostriches are big and they walk fast. They can't fly, so why would a turkey be able to? I get it. A lot of people have never seen a turkey fly, so why would they know that they can fly?
Yeah, so like they flew to this other ridge, and he hands me his gun, and he just hauls ass to the truck because he's
going to the bathroom.
His stomach is on fire. So he does what he got to do. We get back to the truck. I said, dude, are you serious? He said, bro, we had Mexican last night. I said, bro, you don't eat Mexican the night before you got to go turkey hunting. I said, even I know that, and I ain't been turkey hunting that long. He said, dude, I'm sorry. But we went back in there the next morning. He ended up harvesting one of the birds that we had seen the previous day. I didn't get to harvest one, but he did. And that was like his second bird he'd ever killed. So it was it ended up being a successful weekend. But that dude, I promise you, I had never seen a turkey fly until that day. And every time I tell that story, people's like, dude, you got to be. I said, dude, I didn't know. I had no idea. But
that's a good story right there. But no, you're right. I mean, a lot of people don't know, but there's something about the turkey ones that will get your stomach a rolling. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure everybody on here's been in that predicament where you get that stomach going and you're like, oh boys, I'm gonna have to run. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
Opening morning in Florida this year, that was me. We had just set up on them. I was running decoys in the ground. These birds are 80, 90 yards on the roof behind us. And I'm running the decoys in the ground. And I get the last one on the ground. And I take back off because I know my buddy's got dude wipes. And I get back. He's trying to get all set up. I look at him. I said, wipes now. He's like, what? I said, wipes now. The closest down tree didn't stand a chance. There I am, doing my business. These birds are cranking off, at 90 yards from us. And I'm trying because it's any minute now. They're going, I didn't get sat down probably 5 to 6 minutes, and here they come pitching off. I was like, woo, boy. About went real bad.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. It's always a good time. We all 3 of us get together, man, and this podcast will be out on Apple Podcast, Spotify, my personal YouTube channel. Please get on Apple, get on Spotify, leave me a 5-star review, 5-star rating. Helps me out, helps the podcast out. Dalton, Kenton, I think they're both on Facebook, Instagram. So if you got any questions about turkey hunting or anything like that, you can hit them up. Kenton is actually the ambassador for Hunters of Color here in Kentucky. He's been seen on, Kentucky Fish and Wildlife videos. He's actually got a squirrel hunt on there. Dalton's been in the game for a long time. He's not that old, but he's got a lot of wisdom and love his mama to death. So if nothing else, man, big game, small game, all game, we do this too. We out.
Country boy. I get up before the rooster, put on my camo, load up my bow and my rifle and stock the ammo. I'm a bullet with the bullet, but I'm lethal with the arrow. Always down for the hunt, dove, turkey, and big bucks. Hit the woods and get fitted up. Mossy oak all across my fit, don't be surprised, we do this too. I be up before the sun with my 30-06. Hard body on, I ain't worried about the kick. Yeah.